Welcome race fans to Rapid Images coverage of the 1995-96 Coca-Cola Australian Speedcar Championship. Well, 50th running, the golden anniversary of this historic title, and going to be one of the most incredible race meetings we've seen at Claremont Speedway in many years. With me, a man who probably goes into this title as one of the dark horses, Tony Tucknott. Hey, it's all come down to this.
Yeah, it's my first title, Wade. I must say it's pretty exciting, even being based locally. You know, you don't have the holiday mode, but it's certainly exciting with the gala night last night. It's fantastic.
Are you nervous?
Oh, I'd have to say yes, being honest.
Okay, 40 laps is the final. Ultimately, the first goal, I guess, is to qualify for that.
Yeah, 40 laps is not a problem. My fitness is good, the car's good. The thing is you have to get to the final. That's the biggest thing.
Well, he's one of the most fit competitors in Australian Speedway racing. Hopefully his triathlon experience is going to help him. Let's go and check out a few more of the fancy contenders in this 50th running of the Australian Speedcar title. Well, very appropriate, I guess, that we begin our first interview after Tony Tucknott with the reigning Australian Speedcar champion, Michael Figlamini, who's just been in devastating form so far this summer. Michael, how was today? Were you a little bit nervous in the build-up?
I think I was actually quite busy today and didn't really have time to think about it, but you know, I went home and got cleaned up and then I started getting a bit nervous.
How are you going to go? Your form's been outstanding and you must be very confident.
Well, I'm quietly confident. I've found a few problems with the car and you know, a few minor things that could hinder the performance a little, and I'm just looking forward to getting out on the track and I'm sure it will perform better than what it has done. What's
the game plan for the first night?
Finish all heats in one piece and just try and gain places in each race, and you know, I'd be happy at the end of the night if, you know, if we sort of in the top 8 in points.
Would you say it was a fair, average or below average draw for you for the heats?
For me, I have had better, but I guess, you know, it's the same for anybody. You know, I guess last year we had a couple of good draws in Toowoomba, so this year we had a few bad ones. So.
Are you worried particularly about where you start in the main?
Oh, I'm sort of guaranteed to start in position 25 if I don't make it, but preferably the top 10.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't really care anywhere in the top 10. Try and stay with the leaders.
Good luck this weekend, Michael. See if you can make it back to back.
All right, thanks very much, Wade.
Well, for an intense competitor like Neville Lance, he certainly is the king of casual. No matter what I say, you're going to seem nonplussed, I can imagine. This title owes you. I personally believe that. Can you do it this weekend?
Well, I'd like to think I could, but I don't know. I'm not going to get too big-headed about it yet. I'll wait until tomorrow night and then I'll let you know.
What's the game plan for tonight, firstly, with the heats?
Well, obviously to win every one if we can, but, you know, not to finish out of the top 3. It would be my worst. I'd want to finish top, you know, out of the 3.
The last time this title was here, it wasn't the kindest to you. I guess it'd be nice to right that wrong, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, last time we had engine problems. Well, that's one of the things that happened in Speedway, but hopefully this weekend we'll have a good run.
Last weekend, in the brief time you were out on the track, you found a few problems with the car. Are they all conquered?
Yeah, we had things was jumping out of gear, so it was really worthwhile coming back and sort of running the feature, and, you know, plus we put a new setup in the car we wanted to try, so no, it was a real plus for us.
Aside from it being the title itself, you seem to relish the opportunity to race against guys like Warren Eakins and Rod Bowen. I guess drivers of sort of a similar style to you.
Oh, you reckon? I don't know about similar, mate. I mean, I think they're we're all different, mate. I mean, yeah. You can't really say we're similar. I think they've all got a unique nick of their own and sort of each to themselves.
Okay, the big question is, are you going to win this thing?
Yeah.
As I said, the king of casual, Neville Lance, one of the real hard chargers of West Australian Speedcar racing. Hopefully, tonight may well be his night. Well, when Warren Eakins is in town, Jeff Murphy, you're never too far from his side, although it hasn't been an ideal build-up for you guys to this title, has it?
No, we've had our fair share of problems, but I mean, at the present moment, a lot of people are going better than what we are, but this weekend's the race, and this is what we're here for, and you know, every race is important to win, and we haven't been good enough to win any up till now, and there's no use having excuses, and we're here to win this one.
I don't get the feeling that you guys set out to win the last few weeks. I get the feeling that you guys were just making small changes here and there and getting a setup right for this weekend.
Well, obviously you're trying things to try and find out what's going to give us the best deal for when we come to run this race. I mean, more than likely, I don't remember going to an Australian title where there's been better competitors to try and beat. I mean, it's going to be a very, very hard race. If we do our job properly, we have the ability, to, I believe, to win. If we don't, we won't be able to make much of a slip-up, and we'll be, you know, get easily beaten by someone like Michael or Graham or a number of other guys who have got good machinery and have been doing the job. We've now got to prove that we can do the job.
So the motor problems are sorted out now?
Yeah, it's the first time since Warren's been here we've run with an engine at practice the other day where he didn't have to worry about it. Had nice strong oil pressure, the motor seemed to run okay. We spent a lot of time on it, so hopefully, yes, those should be behind us, and we haven't got no excuse if we get beat, we just weren't good enough.
Well, you were with him in his corner in 1991 when he won here, and he absolutely blitzed the field, aside from Graham Jones, who put up a valiant fight, but this is not a place that worries him, is it?
No, I don't know of any speed car driver that's any more determined. The only other guy I know that races like him is more like Steve Kinzer. I mean, if it gets down to a drawn-out, knock-em-out, hang-on type fight, I mean, Warren Eakins will be there and he'll come through. If we give him the car that's right, no one will beat him.
Well, welcome to our coverage, race fans. You are going to be spoilt rotten. The 50th running of the annual Australian Speedcar Championship is brought to us by Coca-Cola here at Claremont Speedway, and I'm very pleased to say our guest announcer is one of the greats of Australian speedcar racing, a triple national title holder himself, Keith Superman. Welcome to our coverage.
Thanks, Wade. It's great to be here. I think we're going to have a great title.
Oh, absolutely no question in my mind whatsoever. The hotbed of Australian speedcar racing is Western Australia. I say that without any bias whatsoever. Danny Plekas on the front row alongside Gary Mulcahy. The Queenslander, Ron Glazebrook out of 3. Bob O'Brien out of 4, and Glazebrook straight to the lead, and Danny Plekas looks like the car may be a little bit tight, Keith.
Just a wee bit, pushing that front end real bad.
They come down the back straight. Ron Glazebrook got off to a very good start. You're, of course, crewing with him this year. That Potter V6 finally seems to be doing a bit better.
We managed to get the point in the right direction, at least. So, yeah, it's been good.
Well, they come out of turn number 2, and it looks like Ian Lewis running the low groove. Here is Paul Breeze Robinson in the 88 Car Air Systems Maverick chassis. They come into turn number 3 and 4. Tommy Watson Sr. running down low in the number 7 car. Joe Little off the back of the bus underneath Lewis and making progress in no uncertain terms. All right up against the wall. Keith, harking back to, I guess, the 80s when you won your 3 national titles. Local construction of chassis wasn't a big thing. Jeff Murphy was by far king of the trumps, but now we're seeing all sorts of local chassis.
Yeah, Jeff sort of led the way. He started it all. He did it well, and now everybody else is sort of following his lead, I think, and it's proven Western Australia can really do it.
Well, there's 2 classic examples right there as we talk about it. The number 5 Mobile Max chassis, of course, constructed by Keith McCallum, and right behind him, the Maverick chassis constructed by Keith Giles. Tom Watson Sr. running the Murphy product. Ron Glazebrook with a fully imported number 6 Stealth chassis. Oh, Glazebrook very sideways there. And a couple of the boys making some quick ground up on him as they run down the back straight. Robinson manages to get around the outside. Tommy Sr. coming out of position number 4. This is right about where your mother and father usually sit at Claremont, that angle.
Yeah, right on the top of the hill, mate.
Where all the good people sit, no doubt. They come off turn number 2. Joe Little making some ground. This has been a fantastic drive. His confidence has been soaring lately, hasn't it?
Oh, it certainly has, and he's got a great car under his tail, mate.
I guess it's got to make all the difference, doesn't it? I mean, when you've got confidence in your equipment, a bit of horsepower and faith, then you've got to go forward.
Confidence does it all. But, unless you've got confidence in the car, say it's going to go there when you say go there, well, forget it.
Tommy Jr. running back through the field. They've had a disastrous start to their title. At practice on Thursday, they lost their Sesco motor, which, of course, you can probably relate to in some respects, Manny, because you ran them for a lot of years. They bolted in the Wayne Marshall Pontiac. Can they be a temperamental race car motor?
The Sesco, no, usually pretty reliable, but I think now they've made them a lot bigger and they're trying to get a lot more out of them, and it doesn't go good for any motor.
No, I think you might be right. Speaking of which, here comes the 35 V4 Scat. I think this is of Ian Lewis driving the 35 car this weekend, unfortunately, and that smoke is about to get a lot thicker. That doesn't look good.
That looks like a piston.
Well, they come off turn number 2 and down the back straight. I think that's what he's probably going to be doing later. Joe Little, the number 5 Mobile Max chassis, has come off the back. Position 11 to take the lead, and what a fantastic drive from the very quietly spoken Kalgoorlie transport manager. He comes onto the main straight, 1 lap. Left to go, of course, the proprietor of Little Transport. What a great drive, and how about the confidence in the first heat?
That's a fast car, and I think confidence is going to do a great thing for the rest of the weekend, rather.
Well, it's got to help you settle in. I mean, he's probably nervous before the title. Everyone would be, but then to start the meeting like that, wow, what a brilliant drive. Tommy Sr. in second. Good drive from him. Back to Robinson in third. Watson Jr., oh, back in the field. The number 6 car crawls to a smoky halt. And can you give us a diagnosis, or should we say a post-mortem, or an autopsy, is it, on this motor?
Well, it's probably an autopsy by the look of that.
Yeah, what an absolute shame. Back in the field, however, Joe Little's pretty keen. This is a good example.
Pretty keen. Yeah, definitely keen.
Well, that's the type of stuff that can win you national titles, isn't it? You've got to have that aggression.
That's right, you've got to have the aggression, and a lot of people call it slide jobs, but sometimes you can't really avoid those sorts of things, you know. Sometimes it's accidental, sometimes it's not quite so accidental.
Well, I'm glad that you can see it both ways, Mandy, because I saw you carve up a few in your day too as they come off turn number 2. All part of racing. Eakins around the outside of the 75-year-old spring chicken named Dud Lambert. Oh, yellows have come on. We've got a problem in turn number 1. Neville Lance. Neville Lance has hit the wall in turn number 1, and that is not a good way to start your nationals. With only 5 heat race appearances, they've cracked a rim, and they're a little bit too nervous to get the car restarted and shatter the wheel and cause more damage. Not a good way to start your nationals.
Definitely not. I've been there. I know what it's like. It's a bit hard, and it makes the nerves even worse for the next time around.
Well, they get a restart, minus Neville Lance. Look at Graham Jones, straight away. Straight to the low line. Tucknott really didn't have a chance to get it anywhere then because Jonesy was already there. Look at Eakins, the Terminator, right up behind Jeff Stanton in the Toyota Celica. And Eakins always making a move. Have you seen a guy as good as this bloke in the last few years?
Mate, he is awesome in traffic. He is unbelievable. So I think he's going to have a real good title. They're being quietly plugging away at it, and they're getting on to be real fast.
Okay, Eakins runs the outside groove on Jeff Leeson in the 12 plus Jeff Pilgrim owned car, and underneath goes Tony Tucknott straight through on the inside. How about this young fella? What a great campaigner he's been too with the Murphy chassis and the ex-Graham Jones Cosworth. To Tony's credit, he's managed to solve most of the problems that Graham Jones had with that motor, although Jonesy himself spent a lot of time on it too.
Yeah, for a little engine, and they give a few problems on times, but I think Tony's done a great job with it.
Well, how about the Gertie that Graham Jones has combined with this weekend? Since he picked up this Gertie, he's just been outstanding. Chaz Calandra, a man who dabbles in sprint cars and speed cars in South Australia. Great to have him here in the Sprint Auto Parts, number 15 ICI Auto Colour car. Onto the main straight, the PDQ Builders, Ostor Performance, 45 Murphy with the Fontana motor. Warren, for a couple of years, was a real Cosworth devotee, but he's gone to the Fontana now.
Yeah, I think any of the guys that are going to run real, we're going to have a good, strong engine, and I don't think the Cosworth was doing the job for them.
No, well, they obviously had need to change, and they went to the Fontana and haven't looked back. Tucknott's back in 3rd, Bob Holt in 4th, and Chaz Calandro in 5th spot. A real throttle stomper from South Australia. Love to be on the gas. Bob Holt from Catherine in Northern Territory. The motor's down a little bit flat as it went past us the last time. It started real sharp, but it seemed to foul up a little bit. What type of things can be? Is it just fuel, or could it be electrical, do you think?
Well, it could be any one, a number of things. It's a pretty new engine, that one, and I think they're sort of cutting their teeth with it. So it could be anything. Possibly fuel. More likely to be fuel than anything.
Whatever it is, it makes you age, I would imagine.
Definitely.
Lap by lap, especially when it's playing up. They come out of turn number 2, and this man, Graham Jones, many say he could be the man that will dislodge Michael Figlamini from his throne. He has just had a blinder of a year, but then you think back 3 years, Keith, and Graham Jones was in a mechanical wasteland, and how things can change.
Certainly can. You know, like I just said, the Cosworth wasn't doing the job for him, and this engine, the Gertie, it's strong.
Well, look at Jonesy there. You can actually see his confidence is back in the way he's driving this car. He feels very good. The Danny Lendich-owned LTC Research chassis, 1 to go, and Jones, out of position number 4, has gone on to a very good win as he comes up behind one of the Smith boys from Victoria. They run down the back straight. Smithy about to get a wake up. Jones straight through on the inside, no problems. Drifts up a little high, but he's got a lot of ground up his sleeve. Heat number 2 goes to the quiet achiever, Graham Jones. Long way back to 2nd. No Warren Eakins. Warren Eakins must be in trouble. Tucknott will get 2nd. What an absolute drama-filled heat number 2. Back then to Chaz Calandro. Jones will get the win from Tucknott and Calandro, but where is Warren Eakins? Amazing. Talk about Lance in trouble. Here's Warren Eakins now, the 45 car. Obviously, there's some problems there. I think it is the fuel injector nozzle that they're having problems with at the moment. So there is another very, what would you say, dysfunctional build-up as the man himself, Michael Figlamini, comes out in heat number 3. Now Eakins has got to regroup.
Yeah, a dropped heat doesn't go well. It makes the job hard.
Well, a 5-heat format. They'll run 4 tonight and 1 tomorrow night. So I guess there's no real chance to slip up. Rod Bowen coming out as well. Paul Sacklin's impressed me. And is that the Mark the Beast Renault coming out very shortly? Yes, it is. Starting out of position number 3. What do you remember about that one?
Well, that was an engine that had a lot of potential. It still has, actually, and the boys are working on it. Steady, steady, I think they'll come up with a good engine.
Stephen Graham leads them away. Noddy Bishop in the Zero Beast chassis. And Wayne Cover right around the outside of him. Look at the traffic back in the field. Phil Moore, who's doing a fabulous job with that autocraft. Bowen trying to make some ground through as well. Big Lamini, just on the inside of Wayne Cover, who is running the Aqua Vital decals this weekend for Ian Watts to keep Aqua Vital up there. You want to look after Watts, his sponsor. Unfortunately, Watts injured in a race accident a few weeks ago. Hasn't been able to play a part in this one. Totally destroyed the car. And Cover stepped in a very nice way to put some exposure up for Aqua Vital. Noddy Bishop hanging on at the moment to beat Michael Figlamini at this stage for his place. Hey, I think you probably raced against Noddy a few times in your career.
Oh, just the odd one or two.
He's a tremendous competitor. I watched him over the last couple of weeks. He's been extremely consistent, and he actually admitted this place scares the hell out of him with his speed.
Well, I think he's sort of harking back to the old days of the big track, used to frighten the hell out of him. But, you know, he's a damn good competitor. Why he's here to do the job, so, and he looks like he's doing it.
Well, he's got good gear too. That Zero car, the Merc Pits Beast chassis, very good. Although Michael Figg's about to make him pay on the inside groove. They're chasing Stephen Graham, and what a class act this kid. Goodbye, Noddy. Back to third as the Magic Man goes through on the inside, trying to come back, but Michael's got a good line off turn number 2. Bowen running the low groove, and the number 25 Gertie. Now they ran the Esslinger last week, and they dropped oil pressure in the Laurie Matthews Memorial, so they've gone back to the trusty Gertie and hoping, no doubt, that tonight could be the night that they'll pick up some big qualifying points. Stephen Graham appears to have dropped off the pace just a little. Michael Figlamini really ate up the ground there. Bowen on the inside of Keith Giles now. Something dragging underneath Bowen's car then. Do you know what that could possibly be, Keith?
I haven't got a real idea. It could be a bit of plastic or something off a tear off or something like that.
We'll have to have a look as it goes past us next time as he tries the inside line on Wayne Cobra as they come out of turn number 2, and Michael Figg stalking. Weaving Stephen Graham here, showing the inside wheels, and Graham coming off turn number 4 on the main straight, doing a good job to hold him off. An impressive young charger, second generation racer. Did you ever race against Barry Graham in Speedcar?
I raced Barry a lot of times, yes, and a great competitor.
Very, very determined and very professional too, and his young son, very talented young driver in the 74 car, 27 years of age. Oh no, having said that, the 74 V4 pulls up in a big hurry. Figlamini goes through uncontested. Bishop back in second spot. I don't know who that is in third place. We'll have to have a look further back. Maybe Bowen it is, Rod Bowen. So at the moment, the East Coast guys running second and third. That's not too bad, considering how tough the West Coast ranks are, Keith.
Yeah, it just depends on your heat too, I think. But they're doing a good job for guys that have been here just a week or so. But, yeah, really good.
Well, Bishop came a couple of weeks earlier and has really settled in very well. Michael Figlamini, well, I tell you what, if I had $1 for every heat race that he's led or featured that he's looked like winning, we'd all be rich men. Figlamini takes the win back to Bishop. To go back then to Rod Bowen, Keith Giles, Wayne Cover, and Paul Sacklin, the number 3 car. Okay, another one of these racing things, Keith, that may win you national titles. Paul Sacklin going for the move on the inside of Phil Moore, who is lucky to recover this.
Yeah, he's done a very good job, I'd say, recovering, getting a whack on the front. It almost invariably aims you at the wall. You know, it's pretty hard to get him back.
Well, one of the South Australian visitors in this year's title, Chaz Calandro. Firstly, welcome to Western Australia, I think for the first time to compete.
Yep, thanks Wade. Yeah, the very first time I've been here.
What do you think of the track? A little bit bigger than Speedway Park now, isn't it?
Oh, it's lots bigger actually. It's a great track. I couldn't believe the size of the width of the track, but now I know why. It's just so fast out there.
Why did you go away from sprint cars into speed cars?
I actually wanted to concentrate on my business, and that's not my car. It's a guy called John Walsh owns the car. He provides the car for me, so I sort of injected all of my finances back into the business.
Not the John Walsh that used to run sprint cars with you?
No, different John Walsh.
Okay, fair enough. Now, tell me about your experience in speed car racing then.
Oh, we've done not too bad. We won the state title last year. We're still current state title holder. 4th in the national titles back in Adelaide. A few feature wins. I wouldn't say a lot, but no. Other than that, yeah, it's been going good.
Not exactly a relaxing ride over the Nullarbor for you.
Wait, I don't want to do that again like that. We had one of the injector nozzles blow off in the truck, so for 600 k's we had diesel sort of just going all over the truck. And then after that, somehow the starter motor decides to pack up, so we're having to push start the thing. Yeah, and then we've had a VR Commodore behind us, which was mine, and the gearbox decides to pack up. So we're stuck in second gear, for 400 Ks and that, so we're going good.
I hope you have a good weekend anyway, Chaz.
Yeah,
Welcome.
Thanks very much.
Well, I'll tell you what, talk about against the odds and adversity and just getting to the title. That is a mongrel run, Manny.
I don't like the idea of that, even thinking about it.
Here we go, heat number 4, and look at Warren Eakins. Oh, drifting up track. I think we're going yellow. We are, in fact, coming back to a restart. Not sure what the problem is. Oh, it's a problem in turn number 1 by the look of it. Dud Lambert on the number 50 car has come to a rest in turn number 1. Dud Lambert, number 50, Slick 50. OTR chassis. Wouldn't be too many OTRs still doing the rounds, I wouldn't imagine, with the Autocraft Volkswagen, the ex-Gary Dillon Autocraft Volkswagen. So away we go in heat number 4. They come onto the main straight. I think that's Renee Watson, quite possibly, or is it Tommy Jr.? Maybe Tommy Jr. Let's wait and see as they come onto the main straight. Tommy Jr. it is in the 76 car. Darren Power in the 59. They're 4 wide. Count them, 4 wide. And Warren Eakins around the outside. Very brave stuff. Look at this around the outside of Power. I think we're coming up for an Eakins win here, Manny. This looks ominous.
He looks fast, anyway.
Just confidence and aggression, and what a load of ability thrown in for good measure. Tommy Senior back then with Chaz Calandra. We'll call him the journeyman, poor old Chaz. They come into turn number 3 and 4. Tommy Jr. in the 76 Marlowe's, Valvoline Sesco. Right behind him, Warren Eakins chasing him down and making a lot of ground. You know, since your days of running the Sesco, Tom Watson Jr. has probably been the best advertisement for that motor.
I think so. They've stuck by it for a long, long time. They've played with it and made them bigger and all that sort of thing since we had it, but they're a good engine.
Well, Eakins and the Fontana crawling all over him. Look at the battles back in the field. This is what makes Speedcar racing fantastic. Mulcahy picked up a little bit of a rut going into turn number 1 then as he goes to move underneath O'Brien, and Eakins is stalking Tom Watson Jr. Look at him, square up the corner. Here comes the lead. Oh, what a brilliant passing manoeuvre on the outside. He didn't hesitate, did he? Just picked the move and went straight at it.
And he picked one of the hardest guys to go around too. He's pretty quick.
Tommy Senior now chasing around the outside. No doubt, if I know Tom Watson Senior at all, he would have had his eyes glued up track watching what his kid was doing. He tends to do that a bit. Darren Power back into 59, and Warren is pulling away. Well, after the motor problems in heat number 1, with it was in fact the fuel injection nozzle, with the motor problems that they've had, Warren knows his back's against the wall, man. And they say in America that no one races, there's only one man, I should say, that races better than Steve Kinser, and that's Steve Kinser when he's angry. And I got a funny feeling that Warren Eakins is more than a little bit narky at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. Dropping a heat didn't make him real happy, I'd say.
Well, Lance did it as well, and Stephen Graham has had to go back to the workshop. They've dropped a motor, I believe, in the 74 car, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Darren Power in the 59, the Scat V4. We talk a lot about this car because the difference with running the twin exhaust system as opposed to just the 4-into-1 that West Aussies run makes that V4 sound completely different.
Sort of like the old Volkswagens used to.
I'm sure Darren would love to hear that.
Pretty terrible, actually.
That was Keith Mann, M-A-N-N. I just want to make that point, Darren. They come through turn number 3 and 4. Tommy Watson Senior, man, that guy lives to race. He just full on. You cannot talk to him about anything that doesn't eventually relate back to racing. Doesn't matter what you start the topic on, he'll relate it back to racing somehow. And how does he do it, man? He's running 3 cars.
I don't know, mate. We used to run 2, and that was hard enough, but 3 cars, man. I admire the man.
Well, I tell you what, his absolute dedication is what you call it, or perhaps just a touch of lunacy as well. Oh, Darren Power, 59 car, got a bit of a push there. I've got the feeling they run out of noise. We'll have to wait and see that. Eakins, however, what a brilliant drive. That's why you win 4 national championships in speed car racing. Tommy Watson Jr. back in second. In third, just Darren Power from Chaz Calandro. Back to Tom Watson Sr., Bob O'Brien, Gary Mulcahy and Tony Tucknott. Okay, I'm going to have a look at a Tony Scott coming up behind Shane Smith, I think it is, in the 55 car. Another little lucky moment here. A little bit lucky to get away with this one too.
Yeah, it's not nice pointing at the sky. You start to have heart palpitations.
Same place as the last time out too. We're right there in turn number 1, so boys are pretty keen. You can see, looks like a bit of fuel has leaked out of the tail from the back of the car. So the fire crew quickly on the scene as Smith removes himself from the 55 rotary Mazda. Fire crew quickly onto the scene, doing a good job. Good to see a good crowd packed in. The Legends bar right behind there too, Manny. So if there's ever a place you don't want to stop, it's got to be right in front of there.
That's right, you get the giant raspberry from there.
Yes, the victory salute from the old Amber Nectar up there, the Legends bar. Heat number 5 coming out now directly through this pit chute. I tell you what, Keith, I would imagine that you'd love to have had a chance to have a run on the smaller circuit.
Yeah, I've never actually driven on the small circuit at all. Yeah, I'd love to have a shot at it.
I'd love to have seen you have a go. Neville Lance alongside Mike McDonald. This is Lance's chance to make back his ground. He dropped his first heat with a cracked rim. Well, Rod Bowen, the Prestige Smash Repairs, 25 Stealth chassis, modified by Steve Brady, I believe. Bob Holt, oh, she was pretty willing there. Coming off turn number 2. Turn 2 tends to look a bit wider than it is sometimes, I think, Manny.
Yeah, I think it's reminiscent of the old track. It used to get tight coming off. It was pretty wide in there, but tight coming off.
Bowen back in second spot. Phil Moore in the Autocraft Volkswagen. I think sometimes he is Ron Glazebrook's worst nightmare, Keith, because he's got a lot of speed and a lot of reliability. Oh, and a lot of aggression. Oh, trouble here, Jones. Cannons into the side of Phil Moore. Well, I tell you what, Jonesy lucky to get out of that one. Mike Matonic goes with him, getting back to what we were saying. Hasn't Phil Moore got that Autocraft really flying?
That's what Ron keeps saying. Look at him. That's my car.
That's of course his old motor. Ron's having enormous problems. In fact, that's the title for Ron Glazebrook. Absolute tragedy. And you know, I've never seen Ron so confident prior to the Nationals. He was feeling really good. The car was on song at practice. He was lethal. It must have broken his heart.
Yeah, we were starting to get him right back on track, and his confidence was sky high, and to have a rod disappear out the side, it's not real nice.
Well, they come off turn number 4. Graham Jones trying to make up some ground here. Phil Moore doing a hell of a job. He has been in excellent touch in the last few weeks of racing, the Bustleton Charger, and he's holding Jonesy out at the moment, doing a good job with it.
He's driving pretty tightly there, but I think Jones is a little too quick.
Yeah, a little bit of aggression there, a lot of experience too, although Phil Moore not short of experience. He's been away for some time, but tell you what, back line the ranks doing a good job. Sacklin that was. Coming through on the inside, Jeff Stanton racing hard there as well as Jonesy makes his way out of turn number 2 and down the back straight. What we want to catch up with that battle right there. Neville Lance and Rod Bowen. Well, Lance has been pulled in a little bit. He runs a very unique chassis setup, Neville Lance. The car appears very tall. It sits right up on the right rear. It's quite an unusual system.
Yeah, I think it's Neville's probably still using some of the older type setup compared to what some of the guys are running now. And it tends to do that. The car tends to jump up, sit up high and run high, you know what I mean?
Well, Lancey's the kind of driver that doesn't like to drive his race car straight, Manny. I mean, let's face it, he loves to throw it in off the end of the corners and be sideways. That's what speed car racing is for him, isn't it?
Well, it is, but Neville doesn't run a lot of stagger, and that's the reason he's got to do that, you know. It gives him straightaway speed, but you've got to get it sideways to get it through the turn.
Well, here comes Bowen. That Esslinger last week caused them all sorts of grief. They've gone for the Gertie. Now, Bowen going in a bit deeper, trying to square off the corner. They come onto the main straight. And Lancey running the low groove, very shrewd move. He'd know that someone was back there, wouldn't necessarily know who it was. Bowen's got a chance here.
Well, it looks like he's throwing everything but the kitchen sink at him, you know.
But I think Lancey just covered his move there.
I think so, yeah.
In no uncertain terms, Lancey just moved up. A very shrewd operator and one of Western Australia's favourite sons. Neville Lance takes the win from Rod Bowen. Back there in third, Graham Jones. Back to Paul Sacklin, number 3 car, and Phil Moore in the 23 Autocraft V-Dub. Rod Bowen making a fair bit of flame out of the side of the 25 car as we move into heat number 6, the second of 3 groups of heat racing tonight. Keith Giles alongside Joe Little, back then to Renee Watson in car number 75, and Joe Little on the outside after his very impressive drive in heat number 1 is just brilliant here. Michael Figlamini caught up there with Renee Watson. Hey, haven't V4s become the hot ticket all of a sudden?
Man, there's a lot of them around. You know, there was 1 or 2 and then they just burst into stardom.
Well, they're a bit like Cosworth, really, a couple of years ago, because in the late 80s, everyone went Cosworth.
Yeah, I think it's like any engine. I think that they look good and everybody wants them, you know.
Well, they get a couple of runs on the board and all of a sudden everyone wants to have one. You're exactly right. John Davidson, the number 22 car. We're looking at the roll cage numbers. Wayne Cobra, the number 9, having his last season in speed car racing. A real larrikin of the sport and a guy who just lives for promotion of speed cars. It's going to be a shame to see him go, man. He's a colourful character.
Colourful? Yeah, very colourful.
No comment. They come down the back straight to turn number 3 and 4. I know he's watching this one because he gets all of the Rapid Images videos. Just lives for his racing. We do hope he doesn't go away from the sport for too long because a wonderful asset to it. Noddy Bishop runs the low groove. You see Cobra buried between the Northern Territory and now Queenslander driver of John Davidson, who is using the number 12 Mechanics Wear car. They come off turn number 4. Joe Little, how is this for a confidence drive? Keith Giles in the very nicely decked out car air system self-built Maverick But at the moment, have a look at this drive from Joe Little.
He's fast. That's a quick car.
Well, over the last couple of weeks, he's been getting faster and faster as Gilesy picks up the left front. Here comes the Magic Man. Never seems to be too long before he's up the pointy end.
No, he's, I call him Joe Cool. He, just in the end, in the long races, Michael's just too quick for them all.
Would you like to have raced against him at your peak in your career?
Yeah, I think so. It'd be very interesting.
I'd like to throw Fenton in there for good measure too. Now that'd be a three-way race. They come out of turn number 2. Keith Giles gets a whole shot out of the turn. Open up a little bit of ground on Piglamini then. We can see Robinson back in the field with Noddy Bishop and John Davidson as Coves. Works the wheel, the number 9 Murphy car. And Robinson starting to make up a bit of ground here on Noddy Bishop. They come out of turn number 4. He's right up behind him now. A lot of these guys getting very tight off the corners. The number 22 car, 12 on the tail tank, 22 on the side of John Davidson. Cover got a fair bit of room to himself just at the moment, running his own race. When you're doing that, Manny, and you're out in front or out in a position by yourself, I guess you've got to be disciplined, don't you? Because you're the only one that can learn by your own mistakes.
Yeah, you've got to keep the concentration up, otherwise you tend to crawl back to them, you know. And, you know, not having somebody there to set the pace for you, you've got to keep the concentration up.
Well, here is Joe Little, the number 5 car. Talk about men who have to concentrate just at the moment because they're out in front. No better example than this man right out in front now. Joe Little, the number 5 car, absolutely hammering. I know one very happy Kiwi at the moment as they come onto the main straight. 2 wins from 2 starts. Back to good drive to Keith Giles. Michael Figlamini in 3rd. Back to Renee Watson in 4th. Good drive from Renee. Back to Wayne Cover. John Davidson, Danny Fleckers. He might have been getting a lap down, I think, back then in Noddy Bishop and Paul Robinson. Keith Giles puts the number 8 car to the infield. Very impressive run from Gilesy tonight. Starting off his account pretty well, very consistently. He number 7 now, the Coca-Cola Australian Speedcar Championship, the 50th running as they come out of these magnificent pit tunnels. Sacklin from Northern Territory alongside Calandro from South Australia. Tony Scott on the outside. There is Bob Holt, the 16 car. Oh, track has just freshly been graded. How can we tell?
A little bit slick.
They come off turn number 2. O'Brien uses the inside line on Tony Scott, having his first ever nationals in his first year of speed car racing. They come off turn number 4, the 2 Car Air Systems team cars. Very nicely turned out Mavericks. They're doing a good job for speed car racing, Keith. I think they're very professional.
They do a great job, mate. Just to watch their crews at work, it really impresses me.
Robinson comes off turn number 2. He's got the least experience. Gilesy's been around for quite a few years more. Has a lot of luck, I should say a lot of good fortune, a lot of good form in national titles. At Parramatta just recently, he went from, position 8 in the pole shuffle through to pole. Not many people get to do that.
No, he just must have struck it. I know he's a great driver, but to go that far, he must have struck it real good at the right time.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Calandro, Holt. Here comes Gilesy on the outside. He's having a great title so far, very consistent. Looks for the inside line on Bob Holt. That is a very fast motor of Holt's, but just at the moment he's having some trouble. A push at the wrong moment costs you so much ground, doesn't it?
Yeah, these guys all tend to do the same thing. They're all trying to run them that tight, and when they get in traffic, they're in trouble.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, a tight car is harder to pass with, isn't it? I mean, it's fast when it's out in front, but it is harder to lap traffic and pass with.
Well, it's not manoeuvrable, and it's the problem.
They come off turn number 2, and Paul Sacklin doing the biz, the number 3 Sacco Building Supplies car. Gilesy is really putting together a run here, although that could have been a fatal mistake because Tony Tucknott almost drove through on the inside, so he's sizing up Calandro, and this is always the worry, isn't it? When you've got not only a tight race car, but oh, Calandro almost loops it. I was going to say you have to worry about trying to pass and at the same time defend, and Calandro lucky to save that.
Definitely lucky to save that. Yeah, to me, driving defensively is going slow.
Yeah, well, okay, one of those aggressive drivers that there were, Keith Mann, no doubt. That's the voice of experience talking. It's great to have him involved in our coverage. Robinson right up behind Stano in the 21 car. I think if we all had a bit of money for every year that Stano's racing, pretty wealthy too.
I think we're a millionaire.
Yeah. Keith Mann, M-A-N-N once more. They come onto the main straight. Stano running a 2-litre Toyota Celica, which he told me prior to this meeting that it is in fact pretty well standard out of the box, off the road car type of thing. He said they haven't done a whole lot of developing for it, and I guess it's probably Keith's perseverance with it that's kept him out there.
Yeah, it's a great little engine, you know, and Jeff's done a pretty good job with it. But I think he calls it the Hiroshima Screamer. You know.
That's right. They come on turn number 2. Robinson has a lot more horsepower at his disposal, but just at the moment, Stano taking all the quick grooves and making it pretty difficult. Robinson, that is where experience sometimes helps over horsepower.
It definitely does.
Onto the main straight, Sacco is currently your leader, but Giles has really come back. He started well back in the field, and this is a blinder of a run from the Jive Man from Mandurah, up very high on the circuit, trying to peel back low. Sacklin has got the right line though as they come on the main straight. Oh, only just. Good drive from Sacklin back to Giles, fast finishing Tucknott. Good drive Stanton, Robinson, O'Brien, Calandro and Danny Plekas. Good drive to Paul Sacklin, the number 3. Sacco Building Supplies Murphy, ex-Warren Eakins, Cosworth powered car. Goes back to the pits, pretty pleased with his effort. Well, another man who comes to Claremont Speedway with a big reputation for the first time, Gary Mulcahy, welcome to Western Australia.
Yes, thank you very much. It's good to be here.
I hear you were very impressive at your hometown nationals last year.
Yeah, I think I had a pretty good show. Bad luck played a big part in my demise, but yeah, we put it in a good run, and that was probably the contributing factor to us making the trip over here, is that you know, we ran against the best over there and we held our head up with them, so we've come over here to give it a go.
Now, you look pretty impressive at practice. Didn't take you long to settle in.
No, I must admit I was a little bit apprehensive at first because I've never really run on a track as big as this. Yep. Most of our tracks at home are only quarter miles and smaller, but I like the speed, and the car felt good and the track's great.
A little bit bigger, as you said. The terminal speed, I guess, is it noticeable, the difference between, say, Toowoomba and this place?
Oh, it's certainly noticeable, but after a few laps it all becomes relative, you know, and you're going as quick as everyone else, and you just dial in, and, you know, you get on it pretty quick.
In a perfect world, would you have been here earlier a little bit for your preparation for this?
Oh, I certainly would have loved to have been here a couple of weeks ago, but work commitments and what have you, we could only come here at the time that we did, but having said that, though, Figo came to our place without a run, so if he can do it, I can do it.
So we're back into it now for what is effectively Heat 8 of the Coca-Cola Australian Speedcar Championship at Claremont Speedway, proudly sponsored by Quit. They're coming back out now. We've already had a good look at some form, although a lot of hard luck stories very early on. At the moment, Joe Little is the man that spreads them all up with the points. What a fantastic title he's having in a great couple of weeks. Quite often you'll see someone have a wonderful run of good form, get to the Nationals, and it's a completely different story.
Usually you get there and you have a disaster.
Is that the voice of experience?
I know from early on, yes, mate.
Okay, well, just at the moment, the Automasters, John Day Utes, as always, doing a fabulous job here at Claremont, starting to get this field lined up and all set for heat number 8. Of course, there's only 12 heats on night number 1. They move into one more heat for each driver on the Saturday night. And, of course, the repechage, the non-qualifiers. And then we move into that 40-lap final after a 10-lap knockout. Now, did they run the pole shuffle as such when you won your title? No,
mate, that's a recent innovation. All of my titles I started from 8 and 7.
Well, I personally like the system. I reckon it's a good way. I guess luck does play a big part in it, but it's a good chance to, from a spectator's point of view, to see some real good, hard, close, uncompromising racing. Effectively, you can graduate to pole.
Well, that's right. You know, in my day, there was a little bit of laying over, trying to get front rows and that sort of caper. You know, now you've got to go hard.
Okay, they come off turn number 4. About to see a whole bunch of other people do just that as Lance gets the whole shot into turn number 1. Davidson runs the outside. Look at this. 4 and 5 wide in some places, and who's the closest to the wall? That man, Warren Eakins. That is just awesome stuff.
He's unbelievable in track, this guy. He really is.
Up behind Tommy Watson Jr. as they come onto the main straight. Davidson running back in second spot as Cobra comes undone in turn number 3 and 4. And the Aqua Vital sponsorship for this weekend. Poor old Cove, sometimes you just said you get to a national title and things just don't quite go right. The Harrison tune, number 9 Murphy car, it's going to cost him, I would imagine. Away we go, Figlamini back in the field, Eakins on the outside, can he do it again? He made the group for himself last time, and this time got caught up in a little bit of traffic, and Figlamini got through. This is going to be a good heads-up race here.
I think so, you know, and Warren only got caught with not knowing the conditions. Like I said, big and wide in there and got tight coming out.
Well, Lance was out in front of the home, and look at him just throw that thing in off the end of the corners as they come down of turn number 2. Michael Fig picking up the front wheels a bit here. Oh, look at that. Sweet through on the inside of Henderson as he goes out after Tom Watson Jr. Davidson back with Tom Sr. and Eakins still searching for that outside line. He refuses to run on anyone else's tyre track.
Well, he's doing it hard there. and going pretty quick.
Well, the car seemed to be set for it. I mean, let's have a look at Jeff Murphy. I would imagine, having been in your corner over many years, would have said, Warren, go out there and run the high line because that's where I set the car.
Well, that's right. You know, if you've got the car that's going to work up there, use it.
Well, that's what he's doing just at the moment. The 45 Ostor PDQ Builders car. Hey, that looks a little bit tight too.
Just a wee tad.
They come off turn number 2. Out of 10, what is wee tad? 8, 9, something like that?
What about 10?
Oh, okay, so she's right on the ragged edge. Lance is still your leader as they come out of turn number 2. Back in second spot, Tommy Jr. in the 76 Pontiac powered car this weekend, running the Wayne Marshall Pontiac. Eakins never too far from the action, although at the moment he's running back in 4th spot. So I get the feeling that the Pontiac is not quite as pokey as the Sesco in a straight line, because that Fontana's crawling all over Junior in the straight.
Just doesn't seem to have it, does it?
And that's a shame for Tommy Junior, because I think he's been good enough to be there, but he's been second and third in a couple of occasions and never really cracked the big one.
Well, he's a great driver, and it's just a shame to see him not quite getting there this year.
I think he would have loved to have tried a V4 at some point in his career. They come off turn number 2, and look at this. Michael Figg goes out into second spot and heads out after our race leader, who is just at the moment miles in front. I'm talking about Neville Lance, almost got the length of the main straight. Eakins now up behind Tommy Jr. This could be a fairly spirited little battle.
Well, that has its possibilities. Yeah, look at Eakins, you know. He never stops trying.
Well, he looks for the inside line, lines it up on Junior. Oh! Into turn number 3. That was a bit, how's your father?
I think it's a king-size slide job.
King-size slide job. Well, I tell you what, Tommy Jr. knows about that. He would have been filling that till next Wednesday. Come to think of it, he almost ended up there. They come down the back straight, and, well, look at the ground that Eakins has pulled on him. I mean, wow, he was holding him up.
That's right. You know, it's just one of those things. I think he's got in there a little hard and whack.
Whack. Start is another word for it. He really got in there. Lance down the back straight into turn number 3. I mean, at what point does a slide job become a black flag or a protest flag appearance, do you think?
Well, you know, it's touch and go. Being a driver and being a chief steward, it makes it hard. But you know when a guy gets in there and he's a little out of control, you know, sometimes track conditions don't allow for that sort of thing. If you get in there a bit hard and you lose a bit of traction, and next thing you know, you got the guy.
So you're saying it's okay, Manny?
No, I'm not saying it's okay. There's some guys that do slide jobs that shouldn't be. Yeah, I think they're looking at that. He just got in there a little hard and probably too fast, you know.
That would have had to bend something on Tommy Jr.'s car, wouldn't you think? I mean, can the car stand up to that type of abuse?
Oh, on the front end, front ends are pretty solid on those.
Well, Neville Lance got the win from Michael Figlamini and a fast-finishing Warren Eakins. That's why they call him the Terminator. They go on to the main straight. Heat number 9 now, I believe. And Rod Bowen, the number 70. Oh, didn't that open the door brilliantly for Graham Jones? He never even touched the sliding fly-wide door. He just drove on through. They come off turn number 2. Ian Lewis goes out high. Noddy Bishop drops the low group. And Jones, Gertie against Gertie on the front row here with the V4 back in 3rd spot of Joe Little. And that immaculate 75. Oh, Jones, hang on, made a slight mistake washing out. Bowen's got him back. Bowen kept his head in a crisis there.
I think so, yeah. That local conditions are going to tell for Jonesy, I think.
What a pass there. Graham Jones, the quiet achiever, a dual state champion, a national champion, of course. He won that back at Rockhampton in Queensland in '89, and that was just a brilliant drive back because Bowen, to his credit, nailed him back coming off turn number 2. He hasn't let him go, and you know the guy that hasn't let both of these guys go is that number 5 car again.
Yeah, once again, he's in there.
Well, he's on the pace, that's for sure, as we see Darren Power, the 59 car, trying for the inside line, and Renee Watson in car number 75. They head down the back straight. How much of a physical thing are speed cars? I mean, I look at Renee Watson as a classic example, pretty petite little lady, but she does a pretty good job with these things. I mean, are they a hard physical car to drive?
Not like they used to be. Most of them have got power steering. I don't know whether Renee has. I imagine she has power steering, which makes the job a lot easier.
Well, they come into turn number 3 and 4, and Rod Bowen, just at the moment, working his way off turn number 4, running in 2nd spot to Graham Jones. As they come out of turn number 2, Bowen with the Gertie settling in pretty well, a little bit bigger than Parramatta. You run around that circuit a few times too, I guess. There's not a whole lot that Bowen can glean from what he does at Parramatta to what he does at Claremont.
No, 2 different surfaces. It means 2 different setups. And he's only came here this week, so he's got the job right ahead of him.
Well, Jonesy at the moment is definitely putting the wind up Joe Little in terms of being the highest qualifier. Joey settled back in 3rd. I think Joe's got to a point now where he's happy with the race pace. I mean, obviously you can't drive 120% all the time, can you, Keith? You've got to play, eventually you have to play the percentage game, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to sit back there and be cool. You know, you can only run as hard as the car's going to run without doing anything silly.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to go out very early in the piece. Look at Jones, his car leaning right over on the right side, and Bowen coming right back at him. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something wrong with the Jones car.
Looks a little bit like there's something astray.
Look at the way that thing's picking up the left front like he's Jeff Pilgrim at the moment, and Bowen's got him. So there's a problem there. I think not that there's a problem because Bowen's got him, but it was evident that the left front was starting to come up quite a bit. What, radius rod or something, you think?
Looks a little bit like something on the right-hand side of the car at the rear. It looks a bit strange.
Well, what a tragedy for Joe.
Or something like that.
You reckon? Well, at the moment, it's cost him what? This could be 2 spots. Oh, Joe Little. I tell you what, Joey all of a sudden realised he's in with a shot at this one. I think it caught him off guard. In fact, he got Jones. So Joe Little got second. Graham Jones got third. Noddy Bishop got fourth. Hey, it is never over until that fat lady starts singing.
Definitely not.
Wow, what a tough run. Mulcahy back to Darren Power and Renee Watson. Well, Joe Little got second out of that. Graham Jones went from first to third in the blink of an eye. As we come up to heat 10 now, and 15 heats in total. The repechage, the knockout or the pole shuffle, and that 40-lap main. And Tommy Jr. goes out the outside, hoping for that big run off turn number 2 as Michael Figg goes to the lead. Calandro back in with Bob Holt. Michael Figg's in trouble. The number 1 car has slowed up dramatically. What a night of upsets we've had, Manny.
Looks like an engine problem too.
Unbelievable. Talk about a night of upsets. Just about everyone you care to think of except Jones and Little have had at some point a drama and missing a heat, like a DNF or a failed run in their heat.
Yeah, it's going to make it hard for them. Yeah, it's Jonesy. Oh, excuse me. Jonesy and Biggs are the Little are the only ones that haven't dropped the heat.
Well, that's the spontaneity of motor racing. They say anything can happen, it usually does, and you know that's not what we would have expected from Michael Figlamini. The reliability problems have never been a problem.
No, never really been a problem. You know, they've got a great team and they work at keeping the car reliable, and that's what wins speedway races. Well,
it can happen to anyone, and it usually does, and that's what we love. I guess Jack Hewitt always said about speedway racing, if they were easy, no one would buy a ticket to the darn thing. So I guess Michael Figlamini finding that out just at the moment as Paul Robinson works the 88 car. Good run just at the moment for Robbo, the former 3-time state go-kart champion. Bob Holt back then with Chaz Calandro, the South Aussie and the Northern Territorian. Good to see that the East Coast drivers that did show up made the effort, Manny, because West Aussies traditionally always travel to the East Coast Nationals on a large scale.
Always on a large scale. I think the littlest number I ever knew went to Darwin. There was only 5, you know, so there's always been 5 or more.
Well, it was, I guess, the committee and Claremont Spill were a little bit concerned early on in the piece when it was apparent that not many East Coast drivers were coming this time. We did end up with something like 12 cars, which was a welcome relief, but at one point it was believed that just due to the competitiveness of the West Aussies that perhaps it was going to be real tough to come here and win.
That's probably what frightened a lot of them away, you know. A lot of guys with the opinion, why come if you're not going to win, you know. Yeah, but I'm glad to see them all come and try and make the effort.
Well, the ones that have come, no doubt, are enjoying themselves, although there's a couple of guys with their backs against the wall just at the moment. As I see the 88 Car Air Systems Maverick tonking around real good. How about this kid out in front? I say kid, I know he's about 31 years of age. Tony Tucknott, third-year racer, learned his craft from Graham Jones, and I think one of the brightest lights in Australian speed car racing.
He definitely is. He does it well. He's enthusiastic, and he's only got a little engine, so, you know, all goes well if he gets something bigger later on.
Well, attention to detail is what makes Tony Tucknott, I guess, such a potential favourite. I mean, everything on that car is spit, polished and shined. I mean, everything is done in the best possible way. You go to the workshop, you can just about eat off the floor.
It's great, isn't it?
I think probably the way it should be done. It's I might have to get TT over to have a look at my bedroom sometime. They work their way down the back straight. Doesn't look anything like his workshop. I'll give you the tip. And it's not because there's no vice on the bed. They come off turn number 4. And TT, the Jason Windows number 11 car, gets the win from Paul Robinson, the 88. Long way back to third. Chaz Calandro having a good night out. Very consistent. For someone who's worried about going well here, back to Bob Holt and Trevor Henderson in the 19 TL Engineering car. You know, Hendo's the guy that I wish I had a Cosworth or a Fontana in my back pocket to throw at that guy, because he was one of the best.
He was one of the best, and he's still a damn good driver, and it's just lack of equipment and, you know, the old story, money.
Yeah, I guess his speed talks, I guess, and the rest walks, doesn't it? They come off turn number 4, and Warren Eakins right up the front this time around. Oh, look at Bowen and Neville Lance back in the field. Well, a lot of feeling between those two. I remember that both guys, of course, I said that Neville Lance were of sort of similar type of drive, but Neville tended to disagree with me. But what I meant was they're aggressive. And look at this at the moment. Lance on the inside, Bowen on the outside. They are uncompromising drivers, aren't they?
They definitely are. You know. But Neville's got his car screwed right up tight there, and he's got a bit of problem.
Well, at the moment, Eakins going around the outside of Phil Moore on the 23 and opening up some ground. Lancey not going to let this one get away as we see Bowen trying for the inside line on Davidson. They come off turn number 4. Oh, I tell you what, he's keen. And Lancey, a lot of smoke starting to come off the headers by the looks of it. Nice move around the outside. Oh, did he get a bit too wide coming off the turn? Let's have a look. Bishop in the number 0 Beast cars. They come into turn number 3 and 4. Hanging the tail out. Oh! Bowen and Lance coming together again. There's a bit of feeling there.
Kitchen sink again, mate.
There's a bit of feeling there, I think.
Oh, well, it would appear that way, wouldn't it?
They come on to make the back straight. Let's have a look and see if it eventuates any more. I tell you what, a spirited battle between Neville Lance and Rod Bowen. In fact, Bowen's kicked away just a little bit at the moment. Right up behind Davidson once more. There is Bishop Jones trying the low groove. It's Phil Moore again, proving to be the fly in the ointment. Very talented driver and doing a great job in the 23 Autocraft. Bishop dived the low groove. Phil Moore had him covered, but Jonesy now realising he's got to get up and get past these lead duo in order to protect that possible chance of being the highest point scorer. Eakins has checked out. He's absolutely left. Continental breakfast is sitting cold on the table, and he has left the building as they work their way into 3. Oh, Jones, that is a nice move.
Unbelievable, isn't it, mate? When you're on fire, you're on fire.
Well, experience has got to say a lot for it. I mean, look at him. He's got Phil Moore on the inside, really on the ropes here now. Moore goes out the outside. Jonesy squeezes. Yep, and just nudges him up track a little bit. Very precise. He's a bit like a surgeon out there at the moment, just weaving and cutting his way through the field. Phil Moore's gone back to 3rd. Hopefully he can hang on to that. Noddy Bishop's going to wear him like a glove. So going to turn number 3 and 4. It's really important now, Keith, for Phil Moore to stay focused and not let the rest of the field drive by.
Just be cool, and you know, as long as he stays hanging in there, he's going to have some points at the end of the road.
Oh, look at Neville Lance, the 14 car, starting to make some serious smoke. That V4, we've seen that do it on numerous occasions, not only this season, but last season as well. So let's hope that there aren't too many more problems for Lance. Eakins is just driving away with this. He's going to take this one out. Lance, a smoking Alenco V4, but Eakins gets the win. Back in 2nd spot, a long way back in 2nd. Graham Jones. Go back to Phil Moore. He held on. Well done to Noddy Bishop. Tom Senior back then to Rod Bowen, Neville Lance and John Davidson. Now, slow motion look. And Keith, you're going to call this a slide job, aren't you?
No, the kitchen sink, mate.
Oh, wow. This is heavy going in turn number 3 and 4. And, oh, look at the flame come out there.
See, you know, that sort of thing, he nearly brought himself undone, you know, and that's crazy.
Well, we talked a bit earlier about getting into the corner a little bit too hot and not expecting to sort of be out there already, but seems to me that Bowen and Lance, 2 uncompromising drivers who won't give an inch, and there was certainly no inch left for Neville Lance there.
It didn't appear to be, no.
Not even a mil either side. Away we go. Game Okai on the front row. Danny Plekas. Oh, Smith almost looped. It's caused some problems back in the field. I think we're going to go yellow for sure. So Danny Plekas has had more than his fair share of dramas, but he did have a highlight during the week. His lovely wife Linda presented him with a baby at 1 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, and he was down at practice at 3 o'clock. Now, is that dedication or stupidity?
I think it's being keen.
I think it's called being very brave. Obviously, Linda was still under anaesthetic when she left. He must have just snuck out. Okay, waiting on a start, and Malkai. And the number 40 car, the Murphy Fontanas, they come off turn number 2. Plekas in the self-built 54 car on the roll cage as Bob O'Brien tries for the outside line. They go into turn number 3 and 4. O'Brien right up high. Keith Giles, that is a nice move as well.
Definitely. And Giles, he's just really, this last few weeks, he's really coming together.
Yeah, well, they've had a lot of motor problems at the start of the year, Keith, and you know, you talked earlier about confidence, and how can your confidence be up there when you haven't turned any laps to be in good form?
That's right. You've got to turn laps to get your confidence in your car and yourself. You know? And no laps, no confidence.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty simple equation, and just at the moment, Gilesy lapping it up. Oh, O'Brien slowed right up. Oh, trouble back in the field. I don't know what the problem was with the 24 O'Brien Fontana, but the rest of the field just managing to get away. Sacklin, Plekas, back then to Darren Powell, and there was Joe Little again.
That man, Joe Little.
Unbelievable. What a weekend. Look at this. What a weekend he's having as he comes off turn number 2, down the back straight, picks up a spot. I think he started well back in this. So he got Plekas brilliantly on the outside. Sacklin at the number 3 car. I've been impressed with the way Sacco's gone about the job the last couple of weeks, Keith. I don't know if you've been paying too much attention, but he's just been doing it all within his reserves as we see O'Brien up against the wall. Hasn't been trying anything stupid, just getting to know the track, the setup, and dialing himself in.
Well, that's the general idea. You do something silly, you're going to hurt yourself or the car, you know. So I think he's doing a great job.
Easy to say, not so easy to do in some respects. And you get out there and tramp the gas pedal, Keith. I would imagine that most people, they get a bit airy-fairy at times when it comes to national.
Well, that's right. You know, they do some silly things, but that's the time of the year, silly season, I suppose.
Out of the main straight, I thought that was Christmas. Never mind. It's Christmas if you win a national title. They come off turn number 2. Gary Mulcahy, the number 40 car for Queenslander, doing a good job. And Joe Little right behind Sacklin now as they come out of turn number 2. Good battles here. Giles, he's really starting to make a charge. They come onto the main straight, and this is a brilliant run at the moment from Gary Mulcahy. 2 battles in the space of 2 places just at the moment. Giles right up behind our race leader, and now Little up behind Paul Sacklin. So as they head down the back straight, Joey trying everything he possibly can. Mulcahy trying the outside groove to make sure it hangs on, and Little back in the field trying to do the same thing at the moment with Paul Sacklin. Gilesy really trying everything. Mulcahy's chassis sat right up then, didn't it? He got a lot of wheel spin off the corner. Very loose.
Very loose. It's probably too loose, if anything. You know, it's just getting the back end around and not doing anything for him.
It's laying right over on the right rear too. It doesn't look like they've got the right rear stuck out very far.
No, not. You know, it's probably the older type setup. You know, where you used to suck the wheel in and so on. Now they stick it out and do all sorts of funny things. And you know, the car's done like that. It'll lay over a lot.
Hey, I just saw in the background Joe Little stationary against the fence. Mulcahy gets the win from Giles. Yep, no sign of Little. Back to Sacklin. I think that was Darren Power, Danny Plekas and Renee Watson, or Tom Watson Jr. it might have been. Back then to Ian Lewis. Yes, Joe Little, the number 5 car. It's all come unstuck. Can you believe that after such a great run? Well, while Graham Jones is getting focused and making some last-minute changes, we'll speak to the crew chief of the team, Tony Bartlett. What makes this Gertie motor such a good investment for Graham Jones over the last season and a half?
Well, they are a purposely built engine for racing, really. They pick all the best of combinations, the crankshaft, the cylinder block, the cylinder heads. Everything's all been proven as racing equipment, because basically it's around the Chevy V8 engine style of thing. So, you know, it's been around for a long, long while, and a lot of stuff's been improved, and they just pick all the best stuff out of it, you know.
Are they an easy motor to work on in terms of maintenance week to week?
Yeah, like any other like race car engine, you got to do the regular maintenance. There's you know, things you got to do all the time. It's no great burden at all, but it's just you got to keep on top of everything if you're going to run it hard. That's all. One
of the best parts about speedcar racing is innovation. I mean, there's so many different chassis and motor combinations now. You remember the days when when you really got into the sport, the Keith Mann, John Fenton era. There was pretty well mainstream stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, because like everyone sort of raced the VW, or they had you know, one of their own style chassis and that and things like that, or various different Sesco engines, but which really the Gertie is based on, well, similar lines to what the old Sesco was, you know. So, yep.
A lot of people are saying Graham Jones can win this title. I have no doubt that you believe that too.
I believe it very, very strongly. Yeah, just like everything else, just an element of luck, and we'll be there.
Okay, so we're now at night 2 of the Coca-Cola Australian Speedcar Championship. Let's go racing with Wayne Cover as he arrives to take his place in this field. 2 of the boys making some last-minute alterations, in fact, grooving some tyres in the pits. And a lot of work going on in the pits just prior to this one. That is the Keith Giles car by the look of it. G'day, Paul Robinson.
There you go, mate.
Working on the number 8 car feverishly as Graham Jones arrives. Highest point scorer to date. We're in the pits. Oh, who is it? But our guest announcer, Keith Mann, talking there with Stephen Graham. That young kid's got his head screwed on.
Certainly has, mate. He's a great kid to talk to.
What a future he's got with his old man doing what he's doing. The Rod Bowen Motorsport, beautiful 25 stealth car in the pits tonight. No doubt he's sitting in about 6th spot. They took that heat off him, involved with the Neville Lance, the one that we talked about earlier on. The one that you keep calling the kitchen sink. Yes, they did disqualify him. So it put him back to equal 6th quite as we arrived with one of the John Day utes to take Trevor Henderson back to the pit area. Or is it Bob Holt? Quite possibly. Might even be Bob Holt. Very similar design and colour. They come back out now for a heat number 13, their last appearance in a heat race, and away we go. Graham on the outside has replaced a motor, I believe. I'm not sure for sure. You were talking to me before. Was it a motor they replaced? Okay, so it was part of the motor they replaced. Thanks for that, Manny. I knew you'd dig me out. They come off turn number 4. Tuck not too high. Bowen is the big mover. Wow, the 25 car, the McAvoy chassis. They come off turn number 2. I'm pretty sure that Steve Brady had a lot to do with the construction of it. Michael Figlamini, of course, ran the McAvoy chassis for some time. Oh, on the outside, a little bit of trouble for Tony Tucknott, who's now starting to find his feet again. Keith, is it hard over a 2-night meeting to stay focused on the job at hand? I mean, having that night or that full day between when you raced the last time, is that a good or a bad thing?
I personally think it's a good thing. It helps you relax a little and get back into the swing of it. You know, when you start doing like the first title I won, it was all on the one night, and man, it was hard.
Well, when you're Joe Little and you're Michael Figlamini and you're Stephen Graham, it's a very good thing.
It certainly is, and it gives the whole series a breather. These guys do engines and fix things that they probably couldn't in the normal night.
Well, at the moment, I'm watching Warren Eakins. He started off position 11 in this last heat, so he's got a fair bit of work to do as Bowen starts to nudge up on the inside of Henderson. There is Tucknott, who's sitting in the top 7 at the moment with his qualifying. This young kid, Stephen Graham, out in front, the 74 car, Hendo. Regarded, I would say, and I'm pretty sure that Keith will agree with me, is one of the most difficult men to pass in Speedcar racing.
He has that reputation.
They come off turn number 4, of course. He shares a very distinct honour with the late great Laurie Matthews, in that he was the only Speedcar driver in Western Australia ever to tie in a state championship.
Yes, that was unusual. That's one we used to run on purely points over the night, and it just so happened that they came out in the tie.
They come off turn number 4. He'll keep that honour with him until the day he leaves Speedcar racing, no doubt, and well into his retirement, although we do hope that Hendo hangs around. We'd just like to see him use that rotary as a boat anchor. They come off turn number 2 and down the back straight. Tucknott back into the field, starting to find his feet a little bit. I think TT was a bit nervous prior to this one. He didn't seem to be too relaxed behind the wheel.
Yeah, first title, nerves would have attacked him to the ground.
Especially being so high up in the points. I mean, I guess your emphasis is to keep the impetus up and keep your emphasis on being aggressive and staying up the front.
Keep it rolling.
Down the back straight, gee, it sounds like I've even driven one of these things. Well, I have a Pimble Lake, but it doesn't really count now, does it? Onto the main straight. Oh, a lot of smoke still from the 74 car. Is that always something to worry about, though, Keith?
What's that?
Just the smoke coming out. I mean, is it always a panic sign?
It's a V4 disease. Nearly every V4 does it, and a lot of guys haven't learned yet. But the ones that don't, are thrown from the valley. Yeah, all the others that are not, they do that.
Oh, Bowen was really keen to get on the inside then of Steve Graham. Bowen, only a little bloke, but he plays the intimidation game pretty well. The 25 car, Graham, drifted up track a little bit. Bowen wants him. New South Welshman running 1 and 2. Oh, right across the infield. Graham gets the win from Bowen back to Tucknott. Warren Eakins got up to 4th. That was important that he got those points.
I think so, yeah. After having a drop heat, that's very important.
Okay, well, Tony Tucknott idles through on the inside. Steve Graham, a lot of smoke up in the 74 car. He's looking down thinking, oh no, not again. They've come a long way to be a part of this. Okay, we're all set now for heat number 14, the second final heat of the qualifying series. Giles and Jones. Jones is the highest point scorer. Giles on an absolute high. He's running in 3rd at the moment overall in points, taking it right up to Jones as they come out of turn number 2. Interesting to watch the matchup here. Manny with the Gertie out in front and the V4 behind. I wouldn't have thought that there'd be too much between these two.
No, I don't think there's a lot between. It's more chassis set up and drive at the moment, I think.
And experience. Noddy Bishop back in 3rd spot. He's really having a very consistent title as Giles he runs the number 8 car. Down the back straight into turn number 3 and 4. A fantastic place to watch the racing from in 3 and 4. You get to see the guys all sideways. It becomes to make you aware how important a good exit is. More, I think, in some respects than a good entry into the corner.
Yeah, exit and entry are pretty important. Exit off the turn is probably more important.
Thanks, Fanny. I knew you'd support me on that. I was a bit worried for a second. I thought, uh-oh, Warner's going to look like a dill pickle again. Down the main straight. He could have put me away then. Gilesy back in 2nd spot. And the beast of Noddy Bishop back in 3rd spot. Something like 55 years old, I think I read in his resume. So he's still getting around there pretty good. Man, it's sort of not a half-hour argument for you to still be doing it.
Well, you're going to present me with a car and I'll drive it.
I didn't think that the flesh wasn't willing. I knew that it was. They come through turn number 3 and 4 again. Mulcahy runs a car so that it sits right over on the right rear. Offset is something that a lot of guys play with. I don't think anyone runs their right rear further out than Michael Figlamini.
No, I don't think so. The only one I've seen so far is young Stephen Graham. He runs it well out.
He does that. Is it buying the car stability in the corners?
Well, probably is to a point. We used to use it on clay tracks for that same purpose. But like the new chassis setups now, when you used to stick them out there and unhook the car, but now they put it out there and hooks the car up. So, you know, there's all sorts of crazy things going on.
Well, they come on the main straight. I noticed the last couple of weeks, we see Tommy Jr. there with Bob Holt, Darren Power and Neville Lance. The last couple of weeks in wheel packing, everyone's been doing some ridiculous things just to try and throw everybody out. They've been going out with even stagger, with negative stagger, all sorts of things. So there's a lot of mind games being played in national titles, and I wouldn't imagine that that's a new trend. They come through turn number 3 and 4. You raced against guys like Ron Wanless, Barry Pinchbeck, John Fenton, guys like that, and I wouldn't imagine that they would have given away all their cars.
No, they wouldn't, but I drove with the master of mine going, Jeff Milton.
Well, there's a very good point. Oh, Mike McDonald loops at number 37 car. I'm glad you admit that. 37 car unfortunately coming to a halt. That's the ex-Michael Figlamini built 37 car, which he ran, of course, with the Sigma a couple of seasons ago. It seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? Onto the main straight, and away goes Graham Jones. They've gone back to the main straight start lineup, which in restarts, which is an Australian Speedcar Control Council rule. Personally, I prefer the back straight witches hat rule. I think it gives the leader back his advantage.
Well, I think it does. That's a unique thing to Western Australia. But maybe it can be looked at in the national level. I think it really does. It settles things down for that start line, front straight start line, makes guys a little bit jumpy.
Well, I mean, it's throughout the world they run. I mean, even in America, predominantly they race the back straight, which has hat rule, and it works exceptionally well. Graham Jones, however, has just relied on natural ability to pull his ground as he comes off turn number 2. Oh, picking up the left front a little bit too as he comes down the back straight. And what a way to finish your qualifying. On top, highest point score, and you win the last heat. Very good drive to the quiet achiever, Graham Jones, back then to Keith Giles. Go back to Noddy Bishop, Gary Mulcahy, Renee Watson, I think it was, Darren Power, Neville Lance, and Danny Fleckus as Michael Figlamini comes out for heat number 15. This is crucial. Joe Little alongside him, so two guys who really have to get it together and get it together fast after their motor problems last night. Is there some pressure on them, do you feel?
Pressure on them as much as... Not so much Joe, because Joe's in the front through or 3. And really, Michael, there's probably not a lot of pressure on him because he's in 4 or 5.
Yeah, he's actually equal with Rod Bowen for 6th, and that is not too far away from where I would imagine he wanted to be anyway, because we know that Michael Figlamini rarely wins races off the front. He does it usually from well back, and we see Renee Watson there with Jeff Leeson, Wayne Cover and John Davidson, so I don't think that Michael's too well.
No, I don't think so. He did say in his interview earlier he'd be happy with the top 8. I think I'll be happy too.
I don't think he's going to sit there for 5th spot though on this one to make sure he stays there. I think you may see some pretty dramatic stuff shortly. And Tom Watson Jr., or is it Renee? I think it is Renee. She's doing a good job holding Wayne Cover out.
She does a great job for me there.
For someone who could probably be intimidated pretty easily, she doesn't seem to show it. They come off turn number 4. Oh, now the car was loose, and it was tight, and then it was loose. What would cause that?
Well, I don't really know. Maybe a little tight, and she got it sideways trying to get it in, and they give a little push and a shove, and they do funny dances.
I was thinking that maybe it was a bit of the right foot that brought that little situation on. They come off turn number 4, or even the left foot, you never know. They come onto the main straight, Michael Figlamini, who knows what pedals she's touching. She might be driving that thing like a pianola. They come off turn number 4, she does an excellent job at any rate. Cover and Figlamini, now Little could learn a lot here. I mean, not that he needs to learn a whole heap, but watching Figlamini isn't going to hurt him at all.
Definitely not. But I don't think Joe's going to be learning a lot there. I think it's the Kiwi guy back in the pits that's learning a lot.
They come through turn number 1 and 2. Look at Fig just trying to move out. Now, Figlamini's got to be careful here. He's got to make the move quickly and without fail, because Joe Little is going to have the opposite move that Figlamini makes on Cover. Look at that. Brilliant racing, and Michael Figlamini again right up alongside Wayne Cover. Coves comes back. Hey, that's a good drive from Coves to hold him out.
Yeah, he's determined, mate. He's not going to let Figs get in there anyway.
Now, what they've done is they've come right up behind Renee Watson here as well, so Coves probably thinking, hang on, Michael, just leave me alone and we can both get Renee here on the outside, but at the moment he's not going to be afforded the luxury of that as they come out of turn number 2. Bigo trying the low groove, and again, the outside rail, turn number 2, is working really well.
It would appear that way, you know, tracks on different nights do different things. And the second night looks like it's working better up high.
Well, on the main straight, look at this gaggle of cars. What a fantastic race. Figlamini right up behind Cova as they come out of turn number 2 and down the back straight. What a great drive just at the moment from Davis, and the commentary is about to get very lively. They come off turn number 4, and Figlamini has just managed to get through Wayne Cova on the outside. Now look at this. Michael Feet, can he get Renee Watson this last heat? Renee doing a sterling job. She's held everybody out, but look at Figlamini, always searching for that groove.
Always searching. That's what I like about Michael. He's always looking for a groove.
He very rarely lays a wheel on another competitor, though, either. I mean, in that respect, he could have shuffled Renee up track then, but he didn't.
No, that's right. He could have really hammered it, but he didn't. He's done the right thing.
Oh, he did it in the end anyway, didn't he? I mean, she went up track a little bit then. What a shame, because she had that heat, and Michael Figlamini just drove on through to take it from well back in the field. Renee gets second. Back then to Cova. Joe Little back in the field there as well. So a very, very entertaining heat. Number 15, the final qualifying heat. The magic man, Michael Figlamini, gets his win back in the Australia 1 self-built fighter chassis.
It's 1785 at the fast lap. 1785.
I agree with you. We're just saying just then off the mic that it was one of the best heats of them all. Well, the sticker's not an uncommon one. We're used to seeing Aquavital in the Speedcar pits. The car, however, that it's on, somewhat different. Wayne Cova, you haven't stolen a lucrative sponsorship deal from Ian Watts. You're doing this for a different reason, I believe.
Yeah, unfortunately with Ian's crash, and a sponsor's really hard to gather, and I felt sort of sorry for Aquavital that they're missing out. So I offered to put some stickers and so forth on the car, and they agreed. So
you're not as bad as everyone says?
No, don't listen to them.
Is that water or vodka?
It's actually water.
Oh, okay.
And not bad either, actually.
Hey, we're going to go down later on and have a look at your banner, which, have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't. My wife's been creative, I think.
She has. She's been a bit naughty. She said that you're watching the cricket just recently and you saw the banners and you said, hey, we should have a couple of those in Speedway, right?
I did mention that to her, actually. I thought about creating a competition or something, but and then gave the idea away, and obviously my wife picked up on it.
Obviously, this is your last National Speedcar Championship. You feel a little bit sad?
Yeah, for sure. But no, I've made my mind up, and that's the way it's going to be.
Oh, there's every chance that we'll see him next October. This is Wayne Cova, racing for Ian Watts' sponsor, Aquavital, this weekend. As you can see, he's the larrikin of Speedcar racing. It's always great to have him in the pits. We're going to miss him when he goes at the end of the summer. Warren Eakins, back in Western Australia for the National Championships. 1991 was the last time. He did it then. Can you do it this time?
Well, our preparation hasn't been the best, but I'd say if everything goes fine, you know, we'll be there at the finish, and I think it's just going to be a damn hard race here with Michael being his home track and all the local drivers going so hard. But I have no, you know, doubts in my mind that we haven't got the machinery to do it, or we haven't got the class to do it. It's just a matter of getting the right setup and getting going on the night.
I would imagine that when you build up tonight that you've just got to block out the last couple of weeks. They never really happened, and you've just been as strong as ever.
Yeah, well, as I said, our lead-up form hasn't been too good, but we have had our problems, and hopefully they're all behind us now. And, you know, we have been getting slowly better. Last week at the Laurie Matthews, we started to come on strong at the end of the feature, and, yeah, hopefully we've improved on that a little bit, and as you said, just block it out and get on with it.
Now, the format for you, your heat positions, tough, good or otherwise?
You know, I would have liked to have drawn a lot better than what we have, but, you know, that's the breaks, and you just got to do the best you can with what you've got, and, you know, I'm sure there's other people that would have wished they got better draws too, and that's just how it is, and you just got to make the best of it.
Darwin produces some pretty exciting Speedcar prospects, considering there's not many cars up there.
Yeah, I suppose really we've only got, you know, 3 or 4 cars, and they're all pretty good drivers that come out of there. It's a thing that we work on up there with no cars. We always chase time, and every year, you know, you set yourself a target and you break that and you go for more, and we just go work on lap times. That's all we can work on, and, you know, with no competition, you just got to push yourself harder and harder against the clock.
What plan have you got to beat Michael Figlamini? How are you going to do it?
Well, if I knew that, well, we wouldn't be here, would we? You know, as I said, Michael's going exceptionally well at the moment, and there's no doubting that he's possibly has to be the pre-race favourite, and you know, being on his home track. And I just think if we get the car working right and it comes to a slogging finish, you know, like I haven't seen too many people really push Michael yet here, you know, and we just hope that maybe if it gets down to a bit of hustling and bustling, well, I hope maybe that's where we might come out a little bit on top.
I get the feeling you're looking forward to that type of confrontation.
All I want to get close enough so I can chase him, yeah.
Is that a fair comment, Keith Mann, that Warren Eakins just came up with there?
I think it sounds pretty fair.
He's a tremendously laid-back competitor. I remember when he first came to Claremont back in 1991, he was very focused, very determined and completely single-minded. Not being the national champ this time, we've seen a lot more lighter side of him.
Yeah, I think so. But some people having a title on their head sort of tends to tighten them up a little bit, I think.
Well, I mean, that's fair enough too, as they come off turn number 2. Danny Plekas got tightened up a little bit too when Bob O'Brien went around the outside. This is the repechage, the non-qualified repechage. There's only 2 cars that go through from this particular race, the first 2, that's first and second, that will go through from position 23 and 24 into the main. Now, in a lot of cases with a class field like this, that is just kind of qualifying to get your backside cake.
Sort of getting you there to pay the money, or like it, I think.
But mind you, strange things can happen. I mean, I know that the majority of races are won from, I mean, let's face it, the first 8 positions. You said you won most of yours from 7 or 8. Was that where you preferred to come from rather than, say, 1 or 2?
I think it's 2 or 2.
Damn, I was going to make that sound romantic then. Never mind. They come onto the main straight. It's definitely easier, though, isn't it?
Oh, by a mile easier.
Well, they come off turn number 2 with Stephen Graham, with a very nicely turned out 74 car. And of course, only a couple of weekends ago, he ran the Linnigan sprint car, 25 sprinter, in the national titles at Archerfield in Queensland. His dad is bringing him up very much the American way, trying to get him in as many different race cars as possible to make him versatile. As we know, in America, if you're not versatile, you're out of a ride. The best chance you've got, isn't it, to be able to drive anything you can possibly adapt to?
Anything you can adapt to, and even with a billy cart race.
You should be able to glean something from some experience you've had at some track or driving some race car. I mean, those guys can run any one of 7 or 8 different cars. The best example is someone like Jack Hewitt, who will run 4 cars in 5 days, and they're all different types, so you've got to be able to bring something with you. Hendo, they had ignition problems early in the season. They seem to have got those sorted, but the rotary is hopelessly down on horsepower, one gets the feeling. And Hendo, I guess, more for the point of wanting to compete and just hoping for that miracle, is out there at the moment, a truly nice guy of the sport, and as we said earlier, a great race car driver. Stephen Graham out in front. I like the black rims. I think this car looks tough. Yeah, I like it, man. You were one of those chrome guys, weren't you?
I was. They don't go chrome.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. They don't go chrome them. They come off turn number 4 onto the main straight, and great win to Stephen Graham. He goes to the main. Back then to Bob O'Brien, Danny Plekas, Trevor Henderson. So those 2, O'Brien and Graham, go through position 23 and 24. Good luck, boys. Main event, the 40-lap final. Well, there's always some nice things to see around Claremont Speedway from time to time. The Valvoline Auto 1 girls making their way around the circuit as we start to get set up for the pole shuffle now. The top 10 drivers, Lance in the Murphy, Bishop in the Beast chassis. I love this format. I reckon it's a great idea, and I think that sedans and sprint cars should adopt it.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It makes something that is already decided, in essence, completely thrown A over T. I mean, you decide that you're starting at a 10, all of a sudden you do have a chance to start at a 6 or 4 or 1, only limited by the run that you have. And Lance, who qualified 9th overall, will now have a chance to go through and at least to 8 if he can win this next one. Bishop has lost nothing, has he? I mean, he's gone out there in 10th. He's going to finish this.
Well, that's right. He's going to go out there, and right at the moment his car's jumping around a bit. He might learn a little more from that.
Well, they're going to grade the track after this, so there's no chance that you could actually remember what the track was like and use your setup, because it would change, I would imagine. Lance and his 2-lap knockout is accounted for. Noddy Bishop, he'll take the win. The number 14 Allen Co. Extra batteries. Number 14 V4. Bishop right there on his tail, but not going to make much difference as Sacklin comes out. Cosworth versus V4. This could be an interesting little scrap as well. Sacklin hasn't showed his cards yet, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. That's a pretty quick car. You know, Warren proved to be very quick, so...
Looking at Lance and looking at where he's starting, Keith, this is a pretty shrewd little operation from Neville Lance, because he's on about a 3rd track here. He's not allowing anyone a look at anything that even looks like half track. So Lance is kind of dictating the start a little bit here, isn't he?
It's the art of match racing, Mike.
It's called an art, all right. It's not called cheating unless you get caught. It's called just holding them down the loose.
Well, you play the game, and if the stewards allow you to play the game, then you play.
Well, at the moment, that's what he's doing. He's playing a very, very happy song at the moment. The 14 car, well, he's gone from position 9 to at least position 8 in this main. So at the moment, Neville Lance enjoying a good run. Sacco back there in the number 3 car will start at a position 9. Oh, this is going to be a doozy.
Looks good.
Oh, I tell you what, wheel rubbing already. Eakins trying to shift Lancey up track a little bit as they come onto the main straight. Lance gets the advantage. I remember, I hark back to 1991 when Jones and Eakins squared up on theirs for their pole position, and Eakins got through. He gave Jonesy a bit of a touch. Jonesy gave him one back to come out down the back straight, lit the place up, and Eakins just at the moment is going to have to settle for what is about position 7 or 8 at the moment, so further back than Warren would want to be.
It'll make it a little hard for him, yes.
I would say he would have preferred to be in the top 4, but Neville Lance at the moment on a mission. So what, he's put Bishop back, he's put Sacklin back, so it's 10-9. Eakins will start out of 8. Lance at the moment is 7th overall in the whole scale of things, if he doesn't go any further. So Tucknott now the next victim, and Tucknott, not what you call race hardened yet, man. He's not the type of guy that will get in there and give Neville Lance a shove. So TT still a relative newcomer to the sport, and Lancey a past master of this as the art of match racing.
Well, probably Tony hasn't done a lot of match racing, where Neville's done quite a bit. So, yeah, match practice.
And he would also be, I would imagine, somewhat overawed to some extent of the importance of the situation. I mean, he's racing out there for 6th spot at the moment, or 7th spot, I should say, with Neville Lance in the final. So, I mean, he's probably already switched on to the main event.
That's right, but, you know, like, Tony probably hasn't learned now, or learned yet, to turn off his nerves. You know, in match racing situations, you've got to do that.
Well, it is now 4 drivers that Lance has been able to count for, so that would start him out of 6th place just at the moment as Bowen comes up, and Rod hanging back just a little bit, doesn't want to allow Lancey a good look at the start. A lot of smoke off the Gertie motor. They come into turn number 1 and 2. Well, Lancey clearly got a better start there than Bowen. So they come off turn number 2, and a lot of smoke pouring out the side of the 75. Could that just be an oil leak as such?
No, it looks like an oil leak. Doesn't seem drastic at the moment anyway.
Was it not thick enough, the actual smoke itself? And what would tell you that there was a problem if you could see that?
Well, more from where it's coming from. You know, it's like coming out of the side of the car there. It's not really near the exhaust, so it doesn't appear to be anything drastic. Well,
Lancey just got Bowen as well, so he's up to 5th spot. We talk about how you can graduate 9th to 5th, I believe, for Neville Lance. So just at the moment, wow, Lancey doing a job as we see Joe Little coming out. Keith McCallum trotting alongside. It's been a good advertisement for Max Chassis this weekend, hasn't it?
Certainly has. They've done it.
Okay, oh, Joe Little and Neville Lance really keen on the main straight. They're not going to let that one go. Well, I think that Joe Little is starting to, well, learn the art of mastering match racing.
Joe's been around a little bit longer than Neville has.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I think Joe is looking at his title and thinking, hey, this is the best chance I've got. I'm not going to take this off me. And now he's moving Lancey up track. So just at the moment, pretty even, no start. So the stewards, well, taking a little while to come into this. Mind games here.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of mind games. I think playing on one another.
Well, I think it's something that we've got to expect. I mean, they are playing for keeps. This is for a further spot down the field or up the field, whichever you prefer. Lancey at the moment in 5th. Would love to go on to 4th. So Joe just hanging right back here at the moment. Now Peter Holland, the steward's coming right forward saying, come on, Joe, get right up there. And this is going to be a good battle. The 2v4s. Very interesting scenario here. Which way do you reckon it might go?
I sort of get the feeling it might go to the new car.
Well, the outside groove is generally the best, I mean, in that respect, because, I mean, the car's usually heated up, the right rear, the motor's in good shape, he's good form, he's already confident. However, Joe Little's had a bit of time to warm up that right rear, so away we go. That's a pretty even launch. Doesn't get much better than that. Lancey comes back on the outside as they come out of 2. Look at this. Oh! Joe got the left front up in the air, and that just tagged Lancey and put him back. That's a buffer that I don't think Lancey's going to be able to come back out of. It looked like Joe Little picked up the left front there and washed out a bit.
Could have done a little, just jumped sideways a touch. There's nothing to do really about that.
It was convenient.
It was.
Down the back straight, Joe Little will go on to 4th place. That leaves Neville Lance at 5th. So, wow. What a fascinating little battle we've got going on here. This is the type of thing that this format introduces. Very good drive for Joe Little as the magic man. Michael Figlamini comes out. No pick crew required for this one, man. He's just coming out by himself. Completely focused, ready to go. Is that one of the John Day boys by the looks of things? No, with Peter Holland back chatting to him. So Figlamini and Little. Oh, that Fontana come off the line brilliantly.
That leaps out.
Well, I think Joe Little was caught a little bit unawares, but look at him go through on the inside here. Well, Michael Fig really having a battle taken right up to him now. Joe got a brilliant run low on the corner. Michael Fig just holding him out at the moment. Little, again, staying low. Well, Joe has been able to put it right up Michael in the last couple of weeks, and right now, he's not going to let this one go without a fight again. The left front pops up. Figlamini leads the drag race down the back straight. Little coming back at him. But Fig isn't going to open the door there, I wouldn't imagine, and Fig goes through. All of a sudden, there's no one going through in succession.
Oh, it's becoming interesting, isn't it?
Most definitely. And here comes another little interesting element in the form of Keith Giles, the number 8 jive man. Well, he's been very consistent this weekend. Third highest point scorer up against Figlamini now. This is for position number 3. The winner goes through to take on Graham Jones for pole. Figlamini getting ahead a little bit. Oh, Giles, he got a good launch there. In fact, the V4, and that was clever then. Just ran Figlamini up track and took away his room.
Just waited for him and just got on the gas at the right time.
Well, now, Michael Figlamini, I would think at this point that Michael is going to run him as hard as he possibly can, but he's not going to be disappointed with her.
No, I don't think so. It's not going to make it too hard from where he is.
Well, you can get a look at what Jones and Giles are doing. In fact, where he's sitting in position 3, he'll have Joe Little right alongside him. So Keith Giles, the number 8 car, a little bit too high. Figlamini coming back at him. He's definitely going to race him for that outside front row spot. Giles just gets to win. A lot of smoke out of the number 8 car. That's not a problem. Jones comes out, the highest point scorer. Oh, the boys rubbing wheels, and away we go. Giles on the outside. Gee, that Gurney took off there.
Linear grunt down low, and he's talking those engines now is just phenomenal.
Okay, well, Giles, he comes off 2, and Graham Jones is checking out on his way to pole position in the 50th annual Coca-Cola Australian Speedcar Championship. If I was Giles at this point, I would probably shut off just a little bit, conserve the car, given that there's a bit of smoke around. You probably wouldn't do that, though?
Not really, if you're a competitor.
Thanks a lot, Manny. I'm not a competitor, I'm just a spineless jellyfish. Great, they come off turn number 4. You have to get me eventually. Checkered flag comes out, and Graham Jones, don't look so happy about it. Jonesy takes the win and goes to pole. Alongside him will be Keith Giles, Michael Figlamini, and Joe Little in the first 4 cars. And Jonesy, very happy. Look at that, the left arm out of the side of the car. He knows he's got pole. So far, the weekend's going to plan.
The only man to finish 5 on 5, because that's the thing that was available at the time.
Were you one of the guys that were against the invention of the roll cage at the time?
Not really, no. There was a lot of them in opposition because they thought it was making the car top heavy and all sorts of crazy things. You know what things are like when they're changing.
Well, these things are based on emotion. They're not based a lot of time on common sense. I mean, the uproar against it. I mean, you look back now, you think, how on earth could they have ever raced without them?
That's right. Now, a lot of people, they get used to the appearance of, and they don't want to change it, you know.
Good crowd in attendance too. Look at this crowd starting to file in for this one. And they've all come for this national title. I mean, it has promised so much, and this weekend it really has delivered just as much. We're in the main straight grandstand by the looks of things. The field is lined up before us. Look at the anticipation on his faces. A lot of Figlamini fans, a lot of Lance fans, a lot of people who are very, very happy to see Graham Jones doing well again. Phil Marines here from South Australia. That is great too.
That is great. A gentleman he was. I'm sure as a driver.
Great racer too.
Well, yeah. A national title holder.
Yeah, of course. And there is Danny Lendish standing with Graham Jones. Jonesy looks very focused. Peter French, what are you doing with those trophy girls, I wonder? The Auto 1 Valvoline car there is, by the looks of things, that Blair Shepherd standing there with Tommy Watson Sr. That'll test you.
It is.
I see you straight away. Paul Robinson and Michael Figlamini. What is going through these guys' minds at the moment while they're standing there prior to this match?
Well, I don't know, but it was me. I'd be just doing my natural thing. Talk to people, you know, not try and get all screwed up in the brain.
Oh, okay, fair enough. There is Tommy Watson Sr. and Renee Watson. She's a wonderful asset to Speedcar racing. In fact, we looked at the whole Watson family here. Renee, as a driver, I mean, last year was the first woman ever to win a national, I should say a feature race, being a lady racer, and she's a great asset to the sport. Speaks well, very promotable, very attractive too, and a good little racer.
Certainly is a good little racer. You know, like I said before, I admire the whole family, actually, for that matter, and Tom Senior for gluing it all together.
Well, I'll tell you what, the one I admire is Jill. How she puts up with all three going racing, I do not know.
Maybe Jill is the glue.
We're saying that in the nicest possible way, Jill, I assure you. Jonesy straps in, gets into the number 4 Lendich car. Very focused team. His young son, Andrew, is without doubt the real big supporter. Look at Bob O'Brien. I tell you what, he's a nervous man.
Looks like he's going to go flying.
Looks very nervous. Does look like he's about to parachute. The Murphy race cars, number 24 car. I mean, it's a big moment. I think it's probably Bob O'Brien's first national title field. And look at Stephen Graham, far away.
He looks like he's miles away, you know. Some people do things in different ways.
Were you pretty tense before races, or did you try to stay laid back?
Try and stay laid back. You know, you get the butterflies and so on. But once the engine starts, for me, it's gone.
Well, you know, Alan McCarthy is a classic example of someone who reacts very differently, as we see Jeff Stanton buckling in for yet another race in the 21 car. Alan McCarthy's actually physically sick on the day. He gets very wound up with butterflies, and that is surprisingly not as uncommon as most people would imagine.
No, it's not. Like I said, different things affect different people, and it never worried me, not to any great degree, but some people it does really worry them.
You were saying that John Fenton was one of those guys that liked to be serious before races.
Oh, yeah.
And so how did you get him?
Talked with him.
Mind games. You said Murphy was the king of mind games. Tony Tuck not getting pushed away. There's a scene that not many people would be used to seeing. The John Day boys, an absolute icon in Western Australian motorsport is John Day. And there's the winning formula. It says Australia 1, Big Spider Fontana. Don't the general John Day boys just add that something extra special?
They do. When you go away and see the other tracks throughout the country, how they operate.
Tractors pushing.
Very mishmash, yeah, and look at this. Day he's a showman, isn't he?
Oh, he absolutely lives for it, doesn't he? I mean, he is the general, and this is the 1996 Coca-Cola Australian Speedcar Championship Final. 4 wide, and that just gives you goosebumps when you think what is laying on the end of this. Okay, Jones is red hot, Little is really strong, Eakins is still there, Figlamini is there. Who's going to win?
Well, I have my tips, but I'd say it will come out of the top 6.
Wuss. They're coming to turn number 1 and 2. Here we go. Jones is your leader. Oh, very slippery. The boys very sideways off turn number 2. Giles got very sideways. Figlamini on the inside of Little. Will it come off? Oh, Fig, very desperate to get across the low group. That didn't work so good.
Very pushy down there, and it's probably early track, very greasy down there.
Well, you got to hang on, don't you? I mean, the first 10 laps, you really got to survive. You just got to keep your line, find your own space, and not get caught up in anyone else's drama.
Yeah, just hang in there and keep your nose clean.
Well, going to the outside is Neville Lance, really trying to put in the big ones here, although Gilesy very sideways through the corner, and you can see Michael Figg is a little bit frustrated with that. He's trying to think, hey, I've got to get through here, because Jones is away, and Neville Lance is probably doing the best thing he can do, get away from both of these guys, make his own hole.
Well, that's right. If anything happens there, he's clear.
Well, that's what he's hoping for at the moment, that he can get around the outside, although Gilesy still got a good run. I see that the smoke still hasn't cleared, but it still doesn't seem to be slowing him.
No, it's like I said before, the B4 disease. It's just purely smoke out of the crankcase.
They come down the back straight, and Joe Little in second spot. He did well to get clear of all this. In fact, he was running back in about 4th. Must have got a dream runner out the outside. He's up to second. Jones is away. Bowen is back in 5th spot as Michael starts to work the number 8 car of Keith Giles over. Now he gets him on the inside. Gee, what a number of... No, he doesn't. Well done, Keith Giles. Survival, I guess is what you call it.
It definitely is, and if you can hang in there, those guys have got full tanks of gas and the cars are jumping around. So you just got to hang in there.
A lot of people say they set their cars up for the end of the race because that's where the paycheck is. Big Lamini comes through, never one to rush the moves. Generally, you don't see him on full throttle until about 10 to go. So Big Lamini through on the inside. Importantly, he put Bowen 1 car further back from himself. Eakins still has yet to show his face. He got in trouble coming out of turn number 2. He tagged Bowen and lost a couple of spots. So Warren probably not panicking yet, but he wouldn't want to let these guys get too far away.
No, he wouldn't want to let them get too far away, but no panic. And that's the name of the game. Like I said, these guys have got full tanks of gas. The cars are leaping around all over the place because of it, and the cars are going to come on later.
And let's face it, there's every chance of a yellow, isn't there?
Oh, definitely.
Well, there's 24 cars out there and there's absolutely no room if you are not 110% committed to your line. They come off turn number 4, you've really got to run your own race and stay with it. Paul Sackland back there in the number 3 car, only in the early going at the moment. Jones is your leader. Oh, here we go, the yellow that we wanted. The yellow that we wanted. Joe Little is out in front by himself. Where is Graham Jones? This whole time, Tommy Jr., I think it was, that pulled up, and Graham Jones is out on the infield. Can you believe that? They've done something to the motor, and Jones's weekend's come unstuck. That would have to make you want to cry.
That would make you.
You've been in that situation before?
Never leading one and haven't, but I can just imagine how they feel.
After a dream build-up, I mean, let's face it, that was a dream build-up. As you said, he finished 5 of the 5. It was really strong. Trouble back in the field. Whoa, Bowen in there with Tucknott. Tried the inside move on Giles. Now, let's look at this in slow motion shortly. You'll see Eakins on the low group. Giles comes back across the line a little bit. Bowen's just trying to find some room. This is, I guess, fundamentally a racing thing.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, you know. Giles, he probably couldn't even see him there, you know, with the way that helmets and neck braces are now. You can't really see sideways.
Well, Tucknott lucky not to get into this a bit harder. Now, I don't know for sure what the judges actually deemed, the stewards actually deemed, whether this was a racing thing or not. But what we do know is that Rod Bowen went back to his original starting position. Tony Tucknott went to the rear. He's saying, I need a push start. Now, in domestic racing, Tony Tucknott knows from his own experience that he must go to the rear as being the cause of the restart. The ASCC don't adopt that rule, and there is Graham Jones. Oh, can you believe the bad luck that he has had in the number 4 car? We thought he was past that. Now, the ASCC have allowed Bowen to go back into his original starting position. Someone must have been the cause of the restart, so someone would have had to go to the back. Now, whether or not that's just Bowen, whether or not it's just Tucknott, or Bowen and Tucknott, I find it a huge injustice that Tucknott's gone to the rear.
In hindsight, I'd say probably it should have been the other way.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least both of them should have gone to the same place at the very least. I mean, both of them were stationary when the yellows came on, and that is what brought the race to a caution. So, well, I mean, they're going to live and let die with the whole thing at the moment. The bad news for Tucknott is that he's off the back and got a snowball's chance in hell of coming back through this field. And Bowen, very consistent tonight. Oh, that is just a brilliant move, but, oh, Gilesy held him out.
Getting a little bit aggressive.
Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt to have a bit of animal in you, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Not that we'd ever say that you were the gentleman racer, Manny, weren't you? Well, they come off turn number 4, really getting into it now. Better put my boots on. They come off turn number 4, and look at Bowen running the low groove. Piclamini is where? He is 3rd. So Joe Little and Michael Fick, we've seen this a lot in weekly shows. It almost looks like a Claremont feature.
He's actually running 6th.
Yeah, unbelievable. Piclamini in 2nd spot, can you believe that?
Yeah, from where he started, yeah, I can understand it. Lap traffic's going to play a big part in this.
Well, at the moment, Eakins can't get past Giles. He's putting a very good run together, dropping a fair bit of smoke. I was talking to Ron Glazebrook, and Ron was saying it's not so much a hazard from a driver's point of view behind the smoke, being able to see. A lot of times it's the oil that goes with it on the visor.
The visor, yeah, it's very greasy. And it's not probably so bad now with the mud ears, but in the early days of tear-off, it used to dribble down between the tear-offs.
Oh, lovely. As they go, a nice little tear-off sandwich. They head down the back straight. Do you feel that smoke there warrants, I mean, a hazard or a flag of any form to Joel?
I wouldn't think so.
It's dissipating pretty quickly. I mean, it's not thick smoke.
No, it's not hazardous sort of smoke.
Well, Sackland back in the field with Chas Calandro. As you see Rod Bowen run the 25 car. I think a fantastic little racer for the sport, Rod Bowen. Very aggressive, very controversial, extremely uncompromising, and not a friend in the world when it comes to stewards in Speedcar racing in this country, or sprint cars for that matter, but I don't think he really cares. They come off turn number 2 and he heads down the back straight into 3 underneath the independent cooling experts tying clock. Joe Little, oh, a little bit ragged there.
Costly.
Now, he is apprehensive about traffic. There's no question that Joey knows he doesn't have the experience in traffic, and it's almost a psychological disadvantage on him here.
Well, it's not only psychological, it is a disadvantage. You've got to work these guys out before you get them.
The worst part is it's almost like going for a job interview and they say, have you got any experience? You say, no, how can I get experience if I haven't got a job? Now, how do you get experience lapping traffic if you've never been out front to lap traffic? So it's a learning game now.
It definitely is. No, but it's a little bit like passing guys in the first pack. But it's probably a little quicker in some ways.
Well, Michael's sizing him up. I mean, he's closed up the ground, something shocking there. Bob Holt, who was actually being lapped, has not let anyone get past him. That's a fast motor. And Bob is doing a wonderful job just to hold his line and keep doing the biz. Now, you can see the ground that Michael's making. I don't envisage that Michael will rush the move.
No, I don't think so. No, he's too experienced.
They run into turn number 3 and 4. Stephen Graham, after starting out of position 23, is up to about 15th or 16th, maybe even 14th at the moment. So the young kid's coming on absolutely brilliantly from well back in the field. I'd love to have seen them not have any motor problems. We could have seen the true potential of the young fella. Now here comes the traffic. O'Brien is in front of Joe Little. He's probably thinking, come on, oh, help me here. And Michael Figlamini, there's the move. It was as clear as day for Michael Fig, but Joe hanging on, well done. Managed to save that. I thought he'd brought himself undone there.
Right move at the right time.
Well, I tell you what, I thought for a second he'd gone too high and Michael was going to get him, but it was good thinking on Joe Little's part. He's probably absolutely 150% alert at the moment. I think that was Gary Mulcahy going infield. You must be so focused and so intense at this point when you're coming up to lap traffic. I mean, your eyes must be looking in 8 different directions. Sorry, I missed the last 2. Damn! It must be a really frustrating time, especially when you're coming up behind another battle. Not so much a car, but a race going on.
You've got to work them out before you get there. You know? In most cases, you can work them out. Right, that guy there was pulling off because he had a problem, and Michael got caught. But I think Joey probably read it better.
Well, at the moment, he's doing a fabulous job, and what a weekend for him. One of the true nice guys of the sport. Very quietly spoken. Really a guy that has relished the chance to race the performance equipment this year. Keith McCallum has been an absolute godsend for him. I mean, really, Keith was the type of guy that had the resources, the time and the knowledge to give Joe Little the very best this year, and he's done that. And that chassis is as good as anything in Australia, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people called him crazy when he was building it, but he's done a great job.
Well, it's really putting your money where your mouth is, isn't it? I mean, putting a chassis out there, virtually untested, and to have Tony Stewart run the car and go so strongly, it was a good experience. And, you know, Joe Little, a lot of people thought he was crazy letting Tony Stewart drive that car too, and, man, they learned a lot from that kid.
Well, that's right, and why not gather the knowledge from such an experienced guy?
Well, now, Keith Giles' motor's getting a little bit thicker yet, but it's still not quite warranted hazard.
No, I don't think so. You know, look, the track is clear. There's no real hazard except for the guy probably following the thing is going to blow up on him, you know.
Here comes Figlamini, starting to make the ground here. Graham right up behind Paul Robinson and Tony Tucknott. The hard luck story, aside from Graham Jones, of course, of this race, starting to forge his way, and there's the passing manoeuvre. Michael Figlamini, surprisingly enough, Keith, there's not a whole heap of traffic around.
No, not there. No, there wasn't. I think Joe just got a little out of shape and left the opening for Michael to do it.
Well, now, Joey's not trying to go with Michael here. He's sitting back and holding on and consolidating his second place. I think it's important that what Joe has done is he's recognised his own level and his own speed, and rather than try and, I mean, how often have you seen it? Someone faster than a driver goes past, the guy in second tries to hang on and hangs the thing off the wall. I mean, it's important to know your limit, isn't it?
I've always reckoned that the harder you try, the further backwards you go.
Well, sometimes you can't find the limit until you drive over the top of it, but I mean, it's hard to know, isn't it?
That's right, you know. There's times when you're going to say to yourself, settle down, and everything starts to come together again.
Well, right at the moment now, Michael Figlamini has the pressure on him because he's the one that must forge the traffic, and Darren Power at the moment moving up track just a little bit. Figlamini hasn't got him yet. Tucknott, it's got to be frustrating for someone like Tony Tucknott, who's starting to be lapped, who's still on the race pace, and you think, I can almost get past it, but you dare not re-pass the leader for fear of bringing him undone.
Well, it's against the rules anyway, you know. You're supposed to give the leader racing room.
Is there rules at 140 k's an hour at a national top?
Well, you're supposed to.
Supposed to. Okay, they come on to the main straight. Figlamini's got power now as he drops down. Look at this. Oh, Graham just closed him out because Stephen Graham's racing his heart out for what was 23rd. He's up to about 11th now. So he's passed 12 cars, and the last thing he wants to do is move up his line, allow Robinson some room away, but he knows he's got to do it.
Well, that's right, and unfortunately you get that. And the stewards are not really watching it back there. Guys move up to let the lead car come through, and the guy that he's been dicing with was nailed it.
Oh, look at that. Michael Figg went to the outside of Stephen Graham, dropped back low, and here's where you make or break your race, Keith, isn't it? I mean, make the move, execute it, and get the hell out of there. Don't hang around to watch anyone else try and get through your same hole.
You've still got to be cool at it, you know. You make the wrong move in amongst all those cars, and you're in trouble.
Well, here he comes off turn number 4. Michael Figlamini did it on lap 13. Lucky for some and certainly unlucky for Joe Little.
Yeah, I think Joe just happened to get out of shape at the wrong time.
Well, back in the field, what we can't see is Warren Eakins starting to make some ground after a shocking start. Eakins is up to about 4th spot, I believe, and really starting to come on. Here's your national champion defending at this stage. Can he make it back-to-back? Not an ideal run last night. They had to borrow a head, a cam, piston and a valve. Had to borrow the cam from Tommy Senior, the piston, I believe, from Bob O'Brien, and the head and the valve from Ian Watts. Had to recondition the head because they hurt that motor pretty bad when they flipped.
Yeah, they did. But it's great to see everybody chipping in to help somebody else go race.
Well, especially when that somebody else could be the one that blitzes you and was very good odds on to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Would you have lent it to John Fenn?
We always, like, our family thing was to loan bits and pieces to people if they needed it, yeah.
So you would have won a national title the night before the final?
To me, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. If you're not, well,
well, Ron Wanless may not have got the same courtesy from you. You never know. They come down the back straight. Figlamini clearing away, and Eakins is making some big inroads on Joe Little here in the number 5 car. Look at this. All power goes to the infield. Look at Eakins really blowing on. Well, that's exactly right. This is where they pay the money, isn't it?
That's right. That's what Eakins is up to. This is the money end.
Well, I tell you what, I don't think he's going to catch Michael Fig, but he's definitely got a shot at second place here. Who knows what would have happened if he hadn't got caught up. He's got him. Unbelievable. Did not hesitate. It was just like, bang, it's done. Goodbye, second place for Joe Little. Checkered flag is out. Your national champion, Michael Figlamini, back in second. Ooh, Paul Robinson almost took Warren Eakins out, and as he crossed the line, second, a great drive to Eakins. Third, a magic run from Joe Little. Very consistent Keith Giles for 4th. What a fabulous event all the way. Heart-stopping stuff. And look at Michael Fig punching the air. The fans are in turn number 3 and 4, and the family are in turn 4. And you know that feeling.
Definitely know that feeling. The second one for me was probably better than the first.
Yeah, the first one was what, Speedway Park?
Speedway Park. And the next one was at Avalon in Victoria.
More rewarding because you realise you could do it again?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's proving that it wasn't a fluke.
Well, look at the Figlamini family over there in turn number 4. They're absolutely ecstatic. Joe Little, what a weekend of racing for him. Keith McCallum comes over and says, well done, Joey. And here comes the national champ, back to back. First thing most crews do is they run over and check the right rear tyre. What are they checking?
Heat. Just feel the heat of the tyre, how it was working, etc., etc.
And whereabouts it wore so you can tell what the car was doing?
That's right.
Well, Michael Figg's out of the car, the Australian flag there with General John Day. Balaclava off, a kiss from the missus, and a very happy Michael Figlamini, back-to-back national champ. As if the first one was a fluke. Nobody really thought that, I don't think. But to come back against odds like blowing the motor in such a heartbreaking way last night in his final heat, it's now starting to sink in, I think.
I think so, and it probably won't sink in for another hour or so.
It does tend to take a little bit of a while because, I mean, the cars at the moment are being checked for length and width and all those sort of things. So, although we're not expecting anyone to be oversized, he's not out of the woods yet.
No, that's the rules thing. They check the cars over and make sure that they're all A-OK. Engines are done and all that sort of cable as well.
Well, Ian Watts just came over and gave Michael Figlamini a hug then, and it was Ian Watts that lent his head, or gave the head from the motor to Michael Figlamini, which was Figo's once before, last year in fact. So Watts, he feels that this one's part of his victory. Keith Giles, a great drive for him, as Giles, he puts the number 8 Maverick chassis on the winner's rostrum. Giles has got to be happy.
Got to be happy with all that smoke, and you know, you're talking about pulling the car out with a little bit of smoke.
Yeah, well, there you go. Joe Little, the number 5 car, the Mac chassis. Hey, he's got to be very happy too. What a rewarding weekend for him. They can be very happy with their efforts. And Joe really enjoying his racing more than ever, in fact. Warren Eakins gracious in defeat. Second place, the PDQ Builders Austell 45 car paid tribute to Michael Figlamini as a driver, and of course it means he's got to do at least one more year.
That's right.
Yeah.
One more.
Because he said last time he wanted to retire with 5 nationals, and Michael took that one off him. And the man is most definitely this bloke right here, the magic man of speed car racing. Was there ever any doubt, do you think?
No, but I kicked him.
Keith Mann, kiss of death. I tell you what, Graham Jones will be sitting somewhere back in the behind the scenes, disconsolately, I guess, sitting with his own thoughts, thinking about what might have been. Ultimately, the winners are grinners, aren't they? And the losers inevitably have to look after themselves.
Well, that's right. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
It is most definitely a tough road to hoe, as we see Colin Elton, the country sales manager of Coca-Cola Amatil. Here comes the sash. for the magic man of Speedcar Racing, Michael Figlamini. A kiss from the trophy girls. And this crowd went absolutely nuts for him too. There's no question of his popularity.
Well, that's right. You see guys around the crowd making out his God.
Yeah, I tell you what, he did the job tonight, didn't he? Up come the crew, and here comes the champagne. And have a drink of champagne, Con. Except you may be facing the wrong way for it just at the moment. Now, Joe Little's copped it right in the eyes. We know about that feeling, Keith, don't you?
Oh, it burns.
But I tell you what, when you win, I don't think it hurts twice as much. There is Michael Figlamini taking a sip of victory title champagne. The Magic Man does it again in front of this very good crowd. 50th running of the annual Australian Speedcar Championship. Historic event, I think a very successful one too, Keith.
Great event, mate. Great weekend.
I know that West Australian Speedcar Drivers Association was sweating on the whole thing. So too were the Claremont Speedway management team. Hey, it's fantastic to have you on the coverage. We do thank you for coming in and playing a part and offering the experience and the insight that winning 3 national championships gives.
My pleasure, mate.
Keith Mann, ladies and gentlemen, our guest announcer as the boys take the Australia 1 car on a lap of Claremont Speedway. Hey, Keith Giles, what a rewarding weekend's work for you.
Yeah, Wade, I suppose the end it's turned out okay. We've had a pretty rough start of the season, but I mean, we finished top 4. That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're in the top 3 last night after the first night of qualifying, and then what? This morning, did you wake up and find a problem?
Actually, no, this morning I thought everything was rosy. We put some new valve springs in the car. We had a bit of a problem last night, the last heat. And beautiful. Then tonight, obviously the first heat, the first few laps were fine, then all of a sudden we've developed this oil problem again.
I was talking to Paul Robinson on the infield. He looked gravely concerned. He said to me, I don't think Keith's going to make it. We've got about 200 guys going over the car and no one can find the oil leak.
That's right, Wade. We had, you know, a bunch of guys working on the car and we just replaced a few gaskets and we couldn't find the oil leak, which was the problem, which in hindsight made it hard for us because we didn't have time to set the car up for the race, you know, because we were too busy trying to find the oil leak. So
there was a lot of smoke coming out of the car. Were you worried about oil pressure?
Well, just half my race is watching the oil pressure gauge. I mean, the motor's a lot more value than the Australian tyre. I mean, the Australian tyre's worth a lot to me, yeah, but the motor cost me money.
Hey, how about locally constructed chassis? And the winner was Michael Figlamini's chassis. I mean, second, Warren Eakins in his Murphy chassis. Then you go back to the Mack chassis and the Maverick.
Mate, well, I think that goes to show, especially the form in Western Australia. I mean, the guys here are so fast, and you've all learnt that it's not just a motor anymore. It's a package combination, and obviously you've got to have people helping you a lot with technology and stuff like that. As far as the Mack chassis and Mike goes, and I'm very happy with my chassis. I think there'll be a lot more of it in the future coming. A few more chassis being built by other people.
Both the cars always look absolutely immaculate when they come out of the track. Is that the nugget factor?
Mate, you can't. How can you? She's so short that, mate, she does such a bunch of work. She's a top lady.
Congratulations, mate. A tremendous result for you.
Thanks very much, Wade. I appreciate it a lot, man.
Congratulations again, Joe Little, on a tremendous performance. You must be really proud.
Yeah, we're really happy. We set out to get in the top 3, and that's exactly where we did.
Now, when you saw Graham Jones go off the infield, it must have been hard really to settle down and think, hang on, I've got the lead here.
Oh, no, I was fairly cool and calm, and I thought, now just concentrate and watch for this traffic, because I knew Michael would be right on my tail when it came to traffic, and exactly what happened. But no, I'm quite happy to run third to Michael, and Warren is no mean feat in anyone's language.
When did you know it was Warren Eakins behind you?
Oh, I didn't actually know anyone was there, and I just made it blue in the last lap. I'm a bit annoyed about that, but never mind. We're still happy with number 3.
No doubt. Now, when Warren went past, was there ever any chance of getting him back, or was it too late?
No, it was too late. I think if I had got back on the job, the car was still fast, but it was just a slight slip up in concentration, but never mind. Next year's our year, maybe.
Hey, what a chassis this Mack chassis's been.
Oh, yeah, our builder Keith McCallum, he's really done a good job, and also Jeff Kendrick did a heck of a job with the V4. They had to rebuild it during the day. We got some parts off Keith Giles, which is great, and yeah, we're happy.
Congratulations, Joey. Go and enjoy the placing.
Thank you very much.
Warren Eakins, you were coming on real strong at the end and then just seemed to run out of laps.
Yeah, we got tangled up in some early traffic and made a big error on the first lap. Actually, tagged the back of Rod Bowen and got right out of shape, and that cost us dearly. And then also we got tangled up with Rod again, and that hurt us real bad at the restart. And once we got clear of some traffic and that, and we really got mobile, we really started to pull the boys back in. But you know, taking nothing away again from Michael, he was always going to be the boy to beat, and he did a fantastic job tonight. And congratulations to him and his crew.
Were you praying for a yellow with about 8 to go?
I was going to try and cause one.
That may not have worked in your favour. You caught Joe Little pretty quickly. Traffic was his undoing, but he's going to be something pretty special. I mean, it's late in his career, but he's getting on with it.
Yeah, he's got a you know, good crew and a good car working for him. His engine's doing a big job, and I think that's helping him tremendously. He's driving well. He blistered a right rear, and that hurt him. And you know, we made the right choices as far as the tyres went. I think, you know, like, we came on strong at the finish, but you know, if we just qualified a little further up the lane, I think that would have helped us a lot more.
Was there a point prior to the checker where you thought, I haven't got this?
You know, I was always looking down the barrel when we had those incidents early in the race, and once I saw a bit of clear daylight and I could see that I was pulling both of them in, I thought, well, hell, you know, like, keep on, you know, just don't give up, and you just don't, you know, don't settle for third, and just go, and it really come on gangbusters at the finish. But you know, that's it. Second's what we got, and that's all we deserve. And you know,
more importantly, it means another year in Speedcar racing, Warren.
It looks that way. We have to turn around and assess the situation. You know, it's a dollar thing, return for dollar, but there's also a thing with me as far as the 5 times deal, and you know, like, we seem to go pretty well wherever we go, and we got a good crew and all that, so the crowd's getting a bit excited. And yeah, I think we'll go again.
Hello, Michael Figlamini.
Oh, Wade.
Congratulations, mate. Has it sunk in yet?
Oh, not yet, I tell you. I don't know when it will.
No. Mate, what a thrilling race. I mean, you had to hunt Joey down in traffic. You had to use the traffic to your advantage. Did you always feel good?
I did. The car ran a bit warm early on, but I rectified that problem with the fuel adjustment, and from then on it was
Tell
just...
us about the fuel adjustment.
Well, it was actually running quite hot, and I looked at the fuel tap, and I thought, oh, I've left that half off, or half on or half off. So I turned it full on, and the motor sort of picked up and went again. It's great.
When you passed Joey, you opened up a bit of a break. Were you expecting him to come back? Because he's been a bit of a dogfighter lately, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, definitely I expected him to come back, but no, the car, the harder I drove it, the faster it felt, and I didn't have to sort of push it too hard, so I knew I could I thought I could go a bit harder if I had to.
I wouldn't say that you'd recommend this as an ideal build-up to a national title win, would you?
No, definitely not. I mean, we hunted around town and borrowed a few bits and pieces, and they were out of blowing up engines, and they hung in there.
Tell me about the people that helped you get here.
Well, there was, well, my brothers and my dad, first of all, like, helped all last night, today, you know, working on the car, but the parts were mostly from Ian Watts, you know, like bits out of his engine, bits out of Wayne Marshall's engine, and parts out of Bob O'Brien's engine. You know, we had help from a number of people today.
Tell me how it felt when you shut the motor off and the grandstand just cheered.
Oh, just disbelief. Couldn't believe it. I mean, I was surprised the motor even ran.
Was this better than the first one?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, a few more people, like a few more hometown people to cheer.
How about putting your hands together for the Aussie champ, guys? You know, one of the very big supporters of Rapid Images this year has been Go Gear and Revolution Racing Services out at 282 Scarborough Beach Road in Osborne Park. They've got some fantastic crew shirts. In fact, our Rapid Images cameramen swear by the Rapid Images crew shirts we've got from Revolution. They stock a huge range of products, of course, Arrow helmets, Sparko driver seats, K&N filters, a whole heap of gear, not only to make your car or your bike go faster, but also to make you safer in your chosen form of motorsport. Go Gear, Revolution Racing Services. Phone them on 443 4400. Well, we hope and I believe we trust you enjoyed the coverage of the 1996 Coca-Cola Australian Speedcar Championship. What an awesome event. We're very proud to have been involved with the coverage of it. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Thank you very much indeed to Keith Superman, triple national title holder, for being our guest announcer. On behalf of everyone at Rapid Images, congratulations to everyone in Speedcar Racing and Claremont Speedway for a fantastic title. You know, it was that good, we almost wished it would never end.
You're the jam in my jelly roll. You're getting under my skin. Oh, we gotta talk. Let's take a walk to the bump and grind. You're an angel with a dirty face. I'm feeling like I'm out of place. Don't ever, ever leave me. If we could live forever, or maybe we die together, our love would never, ever end. If we could play a while, or maybe we'd manage a smile, our love would never, ever I'm keeping the change from all that I've been given. I'm changing my ways. I feel I need some living, yeah. Take a look around you. You think it's what we really need. Always on the hustle, can't get enough. A world full of hopes and dreams. You're an angel with a dirty face. I'm feeling like I'm out of place. Don't ever, ever leave me. If we could